Hello, lovely listeners. Unfortunately, just like last time, a bit of this episode has some weird audio pops and fizzes that thankfully we fixed about 8 minutes in, so if you want the normal, crisp, clear quality of the Atlanta Warhammer podcast, jump to about 9 minutes in and subject yourself to one of the most horrible things you could possibly listen to. But hey, you made the choice. Enjoy!
Hello, my spooky friends. Welcome to a terrifying episode of the Atlanta Warhammer podcast where we've got ghosts that are made of lightning, ghouls, horses that are vampires, that one centaur thing that's got a guy coming out of its neck.
The fuck am I supposed to say there?
That guy! And more on today's episode, where we focus on the Bone Lords and the Sucky Boys.
Hit that music.
Welcome, everybody, to Atlanta Warhammer, the podcast, the show, the experience. And thank you for joining us. I'm Zach.
I'm Josh.
We're talking today about the Soulblight Gravelords, a Battletome. Josh forgot I had this army. Because I had... Which is funny.
That's not a lie.
Which is funny, because I got the Sigmar starter set, and split, David got the Khorne and I got the Stormcast, and then I went and got the Death whatever start collecting box the week after. So I've always had Death.
Okay, yes. All right, so here's the problem, right? This is a branding issue for me.
Yes.
Right? Because when you were doing your Skellingtons in the Ashen, they were Death.
That's true.
Just Death.
Grand
Just
Alliance
Grand
Death.
Alliance Death. And then your Skellingtons and your Neashins wound up in a Soulblight Gravelords.
Well, first they were Legions of Nagash.
They were Legions
for
of Nagash.
A year.
0.2
a
seconds.
Small bit of time, yeah.
And now we're in Soulblight Gravelords, and in my head, Soulblight Gravelords is not Nagash and Skellingtons. It is werewolves and vampires.
Yes.
However,
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. It is also Skellingtons and Nagash. And because of this wonderful new book that we have in front of us, it really kind of is now Nagash and Skellingtons.
Yeah, it's back. Skeletons are back, baby. Skeletons are back. You're gonna hate this or love this. Corpse Cart is back, baby.
Woo!
I wish I'd never sold the second one I had. Just kidding. That kit is awful, and I hate it so much. But I'm glad I have one because it's a fun little thing you can do with this. So yeah, you didn't know that I had this army because I haven't played it in like 2 years.
It's been on a shelf collecting dust.
Because they kind of focused on Radkar and the wolves and the werewolf stuff, and then a lot of vampires. Like the last book was the weird centaur Vangorian lords, and a lot of vampires and a lot of wolves and bats.
So
and
many vampires and so many vampires with weird shaped heads.
Yeah, and there was a lot of weird shit. And hair that's got all over. The hair that has already snapped off by the time it gets to the tournament.
Yep.
Don't worry, there's some of those in here too.
Still there.
If
Don't
you want to
worry about
break
it.
a model and spend $160
Boy,
to do
do we
it,
got the army for you.
We've got the army for you. There's nothing in these guys. It's just bones. But they had new skeleton models, and they were cool, but there was no real way to just do skeletons. And my favorite list is just Nagash, maybe a Necromancer or two, which R.I.P. that guy, and 100 skeletons. And that's just, I like doing that. It's fun. Yeah, it didn't really work in the last edition, and I didn't want to buy Vampire Blood Knights, because I don't really care. Sorry, I mean, if you're a vampire fan, you were getting a lot of love, and you still do.
Well, hold on. I would like to point out the last time that we talked about a Soulblight Gravelords book.
Yes.
Wow, this is going to be really hard to fucking
We're
talk
never
about.
going to say it right more than twice.
But the Blood Knights were the model that we were most excited about before we learned what the War Scrolls were.
Yeah, they were
Because they looked fucking awesome.
and then they were very mid.
At least they were less than mid.
And they cool because they didn't have a guy to hang out with them really, and it didn't kind of work. It was a part of a combo, kind of like how the skeletons were. You can see the parts of a combo, but you're missing one or two pieces.
You're missing the thing that actually leads to the combo. Guess what, guys?
We got it.
The combo's here.
Like a gas station snack counter, we got combos. Our international listeners, are there combos in other countries? Probably not.
Probably not.
Because those things
That's
are
a
just...
Nabisco treat, right?
Is it Nabisco? No, the little salty pretzels with the...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Is that not made by Nabisco? Is that made?
Everything's made by 3 companies.
Correct.
In this
Yeah, yes, because
country.
the entire food supply chain is owned by 3 companies.
Yeah, that's so probably yes.
It's probably not the best.
Does Nabisco
probably not the
own-
best thing, but it is what it is.
Does Nabisco own Kellogg's, or is Kellogg's its own thing?
It's a great question. I
don't know.
do not remember off the
Is
top
one
of
of
my
them owned by a company that also makes gasoline?
Yes.
That does sound
That
right.
is. That is. I believe that is correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Anyway,
we're doing
so
great
welcome
over
to
here in
the Landwire
America.
podcast. As we're talking about Soulblight Gravelords, but first we must get to our wonderful sponsors.
think our spooky sponsors.
And
In an order of most to least ghastly.
most to least ghastly.
Yes.
Okay.
Who's the most ghastly, the most ghoulish, the most goblin-y of our...
Well, then that would be
sponsors?
Llama Juice Painting.
Oh, it would be.
That
That
goblin of a
skeleton
man, just gobbling up everything he can get his hands on.
Paints.
He'll gobble up your models, he'll gobble up your paints, and then he'll slap them together in his big old gobbly butt. And then he'll poop those things out looking just fine.
I don't know. He hasn't told us to stop, so
He
we
hasn't?
must... I don't know if he's listening.
Justin, are you still
so-
alive out there?
Justin, you doing all right? You still
Can
pooping
you give
models?
this podcast a thumbs up?
He's
Did you give us a like, a
He
subscribe,
probably did.
a little 5-star action? We just want to be sure that you're still out there, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
And we have no ulterior motives about this at all.
And that goes to all of our listeners. Give us a like or a thing. And
It
you
lets
know
us
what?
know that you still live.
I'll check for... Oh, you know what happened?
Ooh.
I'll have to read it because we read the thing on the last episode. By the way, thank you for sticking with us. Sorry that was our most popular episode in a long time.
Was it really?
Yeah. Which is really unfortunate.
The 40-minute nonsense episode because most of our episode crashed out.
Because it makes no sense
makes
because it's callbacks to things that were in an episode.
In the episode itself.
Yeah, so we'll have to read our rating and review
Oh,
again this episode after we do our sponsors.
Yeah, so who's our second ghoulish, delightful sponsor?
Do you remember cereals in the 80s and 90s that were spooky?
I do remember Count Chocula.
Yes, but what about Blueberry podcast hosting?
That's so stupid.
Yes, Blueberry podcast hosting. We'll host your podcast and submit you to Torturers Beyond. No, they will. They get your podcast onto all the different platforms really easy. It's how we're on a million different hosting services. We have no right of being on. It's how we are now on. Oh, what was it? FeedSpot.
Yeah,
we're
really the number. Well, we were the number
were
4.
number
Now the
4.
number 5 podcast for Sigmar.
Yeah, thanks. I think Rage of Sigmar was the one that took us out of 4th. Coming for you.
I'll come for you, Rage.
Rage of Sigmar. But yeah, so we ended up being in the top 5 of FeedSpot, a thing that I think I submitted through Blueberry, but now we're on a 20 Age of Sigmar podcast you must listen to. And what a minefield that list is.
That is
Because number 1, Garage Hammer, very good, approved.
Solid,
Dave's
yep.
been doing a great job for 16 years.
Excellent
He's
work
like a
over there.
wizened wizard of the community.
number 2 on that.
AOS Coach,
Yep.
another
Oh,
wizened wizard.
Fantastic podcast.
Fantastic.
Go listen to them probably instead of this one.
Yeah. If you want to actually know stuff,
Yeah.
you've already watched his
Go
video.
listen to those
Because he gets
podcasts.
books early. So
Yeah, he's
his
got a hookup.
his store remembers to send him books. So he has books to do shows on. And I thought it was, what was it? Rolling Bad was the third one.
Yeah, there's a narrative one in there.
I think that was that one. I don't know.
Yeah.
They were all ones I liked, and I was like, oh, I do like these guys. And I was surprised to
And then
see
there was
our
us. And we were like, whoa.
name. We beat out what I will honestly say are better podcasts. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. It's pretty cool.
We're the worst podcast on the block, but we'll keep doing it.
By God, we're still here.
We got longevity at this point, babe.
Boo! You suck!
Now, whatever you do, don't trip over the fucking cord that we just fixed after the half-an-hour break we had to take
I just
in order
immediately-
to fix this audio.
Fix over the cord. I'm not cutting this part out. I want them to know, Josh.
We want them to know
You don't know.
the painstaking process that we just went through to fix this.
So if you're listening to this right now still, sorry that there's some weird audio pops or something. We
Yeah.
think a cord was trying to kill
We
itself.
do believe our USB-C had enough.
Finally
it quit.
died.
It didn't want to do. It did not want to be the third man in this group anymore.
It was like, are you going to read that goddamn review for
For
a third time? Yes,
and
I am.
you would be correct.
You're correct. So, Tyler the Wizard. This is the third time I've read this review. We're going to continuously look at that screen to make sure. We got to get like this monitor to mirror that screen so we can
just
see
so we
it.
can see to make sure
my eye
that it's
line.
going to record.
At all time. Don't you
do it.
Don't you do it.
Do it.
So we have a review. You can always leave us a review. If you leave us a 5-star review, I'll read them online. Whatever it says, it can be weird, it can be nice, it can be whatever it wants to. We've read this one on the last episode, and it got lost. We read it
On this episode,
15 minutes ago, and it got lost. So now I'm going to read it again. And let's see if this is what's turning off the recording.
It's a cursed review.
It's the Winter Soldier activation thing of reviews. All right, here we go. It's also funny that we missed this. It's from January. So this has been a long time coming.
Percolating.
Learning the rules one at a time. 5-star review. I've listened to them all, and I still have no idea how to play, but I love listening to Zack and Josh talk about what's going on in the world of Warhammer. It's got all the charm and nostalgia of your high school outcast friends standing in a circle outside of the lunchroom drinking Monster BFCs and slowly getting louder and louder about your strong opinions on nerd culture until a teacher tells you to keep it down. Except now there's no teacher, and it goes on for an hour. Thank you, Tyler, the wizard. And by God, it's still recording.
We did it,
boys! We're through.
Hit that siren.
That's the end of the show. Thanks for coming out, everybody. The show was just to read that review.
That's also our most popular episode because it's only 20 minutes.
It's the shortest one. I didn't hit the timer on the... whatever.
Fine,
At this point, I don't want to know how much time we wasted.
It's better that we don't know.
Yeah, so thank you, Tyler. Remember, you can leave us a review. You can put it on YouTube.
You can
put it
you
on...
better.
You better, yeah.
I'm going to come to your house if you don't.
We're going to show up and be like, it'll be the end of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where they just go to everybody's house and just punch the internet trolls.
Yeah.
That was a movie.
What's the password on this iPad?
What is the password on that iPad?
I don't know.
9884.
We can say that on a
that
podcast. Yeah,
no one knows what.
Yeah, because it's like some iPad out there has a password.
iPad has the same password as one computer in this building, but not all of them. And that's the only iPad with that password.
Yeah.
Because the other one I have is a different password, and that's why I hesitated, because that password is one I use on other stuff. And I was like, I don't want to say my 6-digit password on the air. But I don't know how to sign language this to Josh. But then I realized you had the purple one. Oh no, I've doxed it! I gotta put it.
Dox the iPad.
I gotta put it in a different thing.
This is great. Okay, so anyway,
we're gonna be insane this episode.
Yes, we are, because we've already
done it 3 times.
Done this episode so many times. Okay, Soulblight Gravelords, we are here. There's a picture that's very red in this book.
We're not doing the bit again.
We're not doing
Pretend
the book again.
It was funny.
Yeah.
It was a funny bit.
It was a funny bit where you got blinded by the book. You opened it. It's like the Eye of Sauron.
Yes, we said the book.
It's
art
Hypnotoad.
good. Art good book.
Art good book. Good job, artist.
Good job, art.
Artists do thing. We think new
speed
artists.
run.
It.
It's a speed run of the 30 minutes we've lost.
Could we do a speedrun episode one time? That would be awesome.
I think we could probably. It has to be a book that neither of us really know anything about.
Yeah.
We just have to pick a book and just be like, I don't know, book guy, go do thing plus hit.
That's how we have to do the shiny elves.
The Lumineth?
Yeah, the Lumineth.
Yes,
We'll
yes.
just do a speed run.
We do the Lumineth book as orcs, trying to read the Lumineth book. These weedy gits, they fighting. So this book is the Soulblight Gravelords, and it is skeletons and zombies and vampires. Oh my! And it's a huge army. Like it is. There's a lot
going on here.
What's cool about this book is that there's a lot of cool pictures. I said this on the last thing that you never heard. So that sentence is invalid, but there's a lot of cool miniature pictures that are clearly the new stuff worked into the older models. And I will say for an army that is including stuff that is so old, it's before either of us played the game. I think the White King might be from the early 2000s model.
Anything pewter still?
No, it's all out of that. And I don't think there's anything resin, but I'm going to pause on that because I'm not 100% sure. I think we're clearly out of it.
Are we out of the dark times?
We're out of the dark times. The corpse cart's real close. It's real close.
Like right on the edge.
Because it's an old plastic kit.
It is a very old plastic kit.
But like you've got a lot of models that from various generations of this army, and they still kind of look good together. It doesn't look like here's my old stuff, here's my new stuff. Like how Cities for a while was kind of like here's my old stuff plus the new stuff, and it looks clearly different from everything. I mean, we need a series of mirrors.
No, I'm just gonna don't worry about my eyes looking at that. I'll keep an eye on that.
You look and I get scared.
Yeah, I know. You don't have to get scared.
I gotta whip around.
I'll let you know when this thing isn't working no more.
And it'll be after I say something really funny. It'll
correct.
It'll cut
Yes.
out. Yeah, we'll cut that out
because it will.
In fact,
the internet will insist that you're not allowed to be funny.
I would say this, Josh. We were so funny earlier, and no one's ever gonna hear how that. But it was probably brilliant.
It was
honestly
perhaps the most funny we've ever been.
Groundbreaking. Yeah, like a zombie bursting forth
like
from the
if
grave.
there was like an award show for comedians,
yes.
they would never have such a thing.
If there was an award show for podcasts, we're not on it.
We would not be on it, but we should win it.
We should win it. Award show for comedy-based hobby and leisure Warhammer podcasts. Because Paintyman hasn't recorded in over a year, so I think by default we're now beating Paintyman. Unless they want to come on the show. I don't know if Andrew, you listen, but that'd be really awesome.
That'd be dope.
Come on the show. We'll absorb you. Hang out. So, Soulblight Gravelords, you kind of, if you want to think about it in terms of who are these guys in the lore of Age of Sigmar? They're Nagash. Nagash controls all the Death armies. But the Soulblight are your classic, your skeletons, your vampires, your monsters of the night, your creepy crawlies. Everything from zombies rising from the grave to horrible centaur things that are half monster.
Man, half monster, half
It's really like 80% monster,
Yeah.
35% man. It's a
weird
confusing
bat thing.
Yeah, bat centaur. And then some other just bizarre kind of stuff thrown in. But it's the stuff that lurks in the shadows that isn't tightly aligned to Night Haunt or Flesh Eater cores. And Ossiarch is kind of its own thing because they have culture and stuff like that. So Soulblight is kind of like, it was the dumping ground for all this stuff now, but now it's really cohesioned itself into a theme, coagulated into a theme, if you will. And
It's really got its blood in order.
Yeah, it's got its blood in order. So it's I'm O positive on it.
Oh.
That's a blood joke for you at home. Thanks for coming out. So
Don't forget to tip.
don't forget to tip your waitress. A 2-drink minimum here at the Chuckle Hut. So to kind of summarize this, because obviously if you're a Warhammer fan, you kind of know who a lot of this stuff is. Nagash runs. He's the Lord of Death, Lord of Bones, the big spooky guy, Popat Skeleton Man.
Our big bone daddy.
Big Bone Daddy. He runs all of Death, but Teclis sort of punched him in the dick, and he went away for a while. He's healing. He can still summon his avatar, a.k.a. you can still play with the model. Can you imagine if they're just like, no, you can't use Nagash anymore.
No more
Sorry.
Nagashing.
Sorry, guys. But you can still use the model, and his influence over all of Death is slightly reduced, which means the vampires, the vampire courts, are doing what they do best, which is getting in each other's way and accomplishing very little to actually do anything. And in fact, with the Skaven continuing to just eat realms and cause problems everywhere, the vampire courts have decided now's a good time to start some political infighting and get nothing done. While the rest of the Death armies on the outskirts are like, hey, there's rats and they're killing us all the time.
Let me rap for the kids out there.
Billions of them.
It's almost like they're relatively representative of our own U.S. political system,
Yes.
where there's just a lot of infighting, nothing gets done, and the rats are eating themselves.
The rats are eating themselves. And the ancient ghouls are still somehow on top.
Yep.
Yeah.
The things that are 95 years old and most of them are at home.
Should have been passed
shitting their
away at
pants.
this point, but they're, by God, they're here. So you have your Death army, of the vampire, I guess you have a couple of factions in the vampires. You don't really have a lot of factions of the skeleton guys because they're kind of
They're all skeletons.
You have barrel lords and they have like their little
They
kingdom.
can't tell who each one.
But that's kind of
is.
the thing is I think they sort of get close and they're like I don't know, whatever, we're hanging out.
We have no distinguishing features.
Yeah, we're skeletons. If you don't put a hat on me, I don't know who I am. And they took. I've said this when they released the last skeleton models, and these cowards have never given us back the skeleton holding the trumpet, which was my favorite thing because how?
He ain't got lungs.
How's he doing that? Now he has a drum, which also, cowards number 2, make it a xylophone, ribcage. That's the funniest thing you can
That's
do.
the funniest thing you can do.
That's all I want at Kit Bash, as they have little xylophones, and they're playing them with little finger bones. It's pretty fun. So, in this army, you have your vampire. Well, I'll start with the top. You have your vampires, you have Neferata and Manfred. They're kind of your 2 surrogate mommy-daddy for this kind of thing. Neferata is you're all like, I won 10 minutes ago, I've plotted this whole thing out. You know, my court is everywhere, my eyes are everywhere. I don't have to sully my hands with you. In fact, she's so focused on that her skeletons, she doesn't like newly risen skeletons. She doesn't want zombies. It's like if you raise a skeleton, you have to clean it and put clean armor on it and like upkeep that armor as if you were
whitewash those bones.
Yeah, as if you were like a real soldier.
Yeah,
guy. Like she's like Manfred is like power. Bring me pictures of people that are dead.
Bring me Spider-Man.
Bring me Spider-Man's corpse and I'll raise it. And he doesn't care. He's gonna have all your just monsters. His whole thing is like, I want to be in charge. Let's all forget about that one time I blew up the planet. And we'll go from there.
We don't worry about that.
Yeah. So yeah, you have those 2 as your main factions or your main sub factions of vampire stuff. You know, spooky blood, murder, vampires, summoning armies of stuff, and kind of it's still vaguely.
We are in the shadows.
Yeah, we are shadowy, and we have vague Egyptian themes still kind of held over from, you know, Tomb Lords and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then there's a couple of other ones that you've got. you have the Virkos, which are the wolf people.
Yep.
And they're still hanging out. They had a successful board game with Cursed City, and they spun that into a spin-off series, and now they're one of the biggest factions, which is kind of funny because it's clearly like they were just like, oh, people really like the Grandma Wolf, so let's include her in some more stuff. But the Virkos don't really get along with the other vampire factions, and the other vampire factions are like, why would I?
Werewolves.
Yeah, like you're a werewolf vampire.
Yeah.
It's too many things. It's a hat on a hat.
Yeah, you can't be 3 things.
You got to commit to a theme. That's too many things. So you've kind of got like that side of the things. You have the Castelli, which are the Prince Vordry. We'll get to him a lot later in the rules. He's sort of the focus of this, and also the brand new centerfold model that you can get that's super big.
Ooh.
I wonder why. And also a really good, powerful unit. Or if you,
I wonder why.
Or if you take the guy off, a terrible unit. It's really funny. That dragon just
Your choices.
goes downhill if you magnetize his butt. And I have 2 Vampire Lords on Dragon from the old set, and I looked at them on the shelf, and I looked at the pictures of the new guy, and I was like, it would be embarrassing to buy the new one and put him next to the old one. The old ones looked fine until you see the new one.
And then you're like, oh, the new one's like so much nicer.
It's so good. You're like, I don't want to show this to my old girlfriends. I want to just date this one instead. It's way better. So Castelli, they are vampires, but they have like a code of honor-ish. Kinda. They're also very martial prowess focused. They're the ones that live in a big spooky castle, and they pissed Nagash off one time, like everyone does eventually. And Nagash was like, fine, you're all trapped in your castle, and if you don't return to it at the end of the day, you basically turn to dust. But then the castle will show up where I need it, you'll all ride out, murder everybody, right back in. That's taking the center of the story focus for this book, is those guys. And I wonder why. We've got new vampire lords, vampires on foot, vampires everywhere. Everywhere. Vampires. And then you have the Avengori, which are the weird ones. This sort of, I think that they're cool, and I think they have a place in the storyline, but this does feel like a real, they didn't catch on last edition, so now they're kind of just shoved in the background of this edition in terms of narrative stuff. Like, we're like, Nephrata, Manfred are fighting, werewolves over here, Crimson Keep over here, and then these guys.
No, whatever this thing was.
And worst
we
of
had at
all,
one point.
Larry.
Yeah.
Like, so those are your vampire factions. And of course, there's tons of sub factions, and vampires, because they are vampires, will often not get along with each other. You have plenty of roaming Ronin vampires, or ones that just have a little keep. So if you want to play a vampire and you don't want to be in one of these, do whatever.
Not a big deal.
Yeah. Vampires are self-serving monsters. But then you get Bone Boys. This is what I was waiting for this book to refocus back on, because it talks a little bit more than ever about how the Barrow Kingdoms work, which is like, hey, you were living in Shaish long before Nagash got there. Pretty cool. Then he shows up. Whoops. Now you're dead.
Yep.
You're dead, guys. But he's like, hey, sorry, get back up. So Barrow Kingdoms are like run by Barrow Lords or White Kings or something like that, and they essentially continue to be kingdoms, but they don't know why they're doing the thing, so they're like tilling ground that doesn't have any plants in it. Like, they just kind of automate, basically. Until a Barrow Lord or somebody with a really strong will goes, hey, get up, we're kicking butt. We're going over here.
You gotta go invade this other Barrow land.
Yeah. So, unlike Ossiarch, which are also armies of dead things, Ossiarch like make art and write poetry, and they spend their days doing stuff. These guys are just literally on repeat until a Barrow Lord comes in and is like, get in here. What I like about it is they really get into how White Lords are like specifically sentient. Like, they aren't just a slightly better skeleton. They have plans and dreams. Sure, they all line up with Nagash in the end. But it says something where it's like, yeah, there are tales of vampires who sought to dominate a White Lord through the force of their magic, only to end up screaming their last impaled on the patinated tip of a cursed tomb blade. White Kings can kill vampires and are like, no, I was a king for 1,000 years. You're just some whippersnapper that sucks blood. I don't care. What are you going to do?
You're so Lord, man.
Also, what are you going to do? Bite me? I'm a Skellington.
nothing to suck.
I got nothing in me. I'm dry. So I like that there's like, hey, these armies, the vampires will have to treat with them for stuff. But what do the skeletons want?
What do skeletons want?
That's the thing. They don't, it's hard to bargain with them.
What do we want? More skeletons.
Yeah, that's really it.
Why?
So you have more Skellingtons. Somebody's questioning skeleton logic.
Seems suspect.
But that is kind of the thing, is vampires, like, the only thing they can offer is to go, well, yeah, you can have more skeletons added to your army, And then eventually you go, hey, that army's a lot bigger than my army is. And whoops, now I'm part of their
Oh, no.
kingdom. So it's kind of this bartering thing they have to do. And they dive a little more into like the different types of kingdoms, and they show some of the banners and stuff like that. I always thought it was cool, and I painted all of my death guides with different color banners because I was like, it's neat to have like these skeletons were raised from battles over hundreds of years, so you know
They're all from like different factions and families and stuff like that.
it's a colorful death army,
Yeah.
which is kind of an interesting thing to have, and that's kind of how some of them work, is they just travel like a vacuum, just sucking up all the corpses and putting them into their army. Which is a problem because people have been fighting in the Age of Sigmar for thousands and thousands of years.
So some of these death armies are very, very large.
That they move like like the storms
Yeah.
would move across areas, and like if you're in the way, here's the
It's
problem.
like a swarm of locusts.
You're-
Just picks
you're-
everything clean.
You're a town. Let's say you're even a mid-sized town. You don't have any Stormcast defenders, but you've got an army. You've got some guns. You've got a standing.
You
thing.
got some cities.
You might trade with the KO. Like you've got some stuff going on. Ossiarch roll up, demand taxes. You can pay their taxes, and for the most part, they're going to be reasonable about it. Flesh Eater Courts roll up. If you can just play pretend and maybe have to eat a little bit of corpse meat, you might be able to just convince them that you are also nobility and that they should leave you. And you're fine. Night Hunt roll up, you're kind of fucked. But honestly, Night Hunt roll up on anything, it's kind of fucked because they're just madmen.
Mm-hmm.
But a army of skeletons rolls up. The minute one of you falls, they've added a number, and they don't have to stop ever. So they just don't stop until they're just done. It's like orcs, orc kingdoms, or whatever you would call them, big wogs, are basically wiped out because they keep fighting until they're exhausted, and the skeletons just keep getting back up. And at first, it's really fun, and then eventually, it's like, everyone's dying, and we're not killing any skeletons, and now the skeletons of the people that we killed are back up.
Are now skeletons,
This
but
is-
fighting on the other side.
This is a problem.
difficult.
Even orcs are afraid of that massive pile of
Yeah.
guys. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna go through a lot of the other lore stuff because it doesn't really move the needle.
I was gonna say,
too
is there
much.
anything in this story wise that gets moved forward here, Zach?
There's a page and a half.
Oh boy,
And that's it. This book does have a lot of units and a lot of rules, so
Yeah.
it makes sense. So they Sigmar's folk call it the Hour of Ruin. Vampire have come to know it as the Time of Vile Blood because Skaven and Chaos people's blood sucks. It's not good. You shouldn't drink it. You get real weird. Like if you drink mutant rat blood, you yourself will become cursed and mutated. Which all unfortunate because they're killing all the good cattle. So as a vampire, what are you gonna do? You go to the grocery store. Skaven have already bought all the eggs.
there's no blood to suck.
There's no blood to suck. They're coming up dry. So yeah, the spawn of the horned rat are basically like they were pushed back by death, and especially in the realm of death during the whole what was it, the necroquake and all of that stuff. Now Nagash is down and the Skaven are back, so it's like we're ready to run and hit. And they've invaded like all kinds of parts of Shice and just overrun them because the death armies that are there don't have Skaven bones suck for resurrection. They're brittle and bad and cursed by warpstone and all that kind of stuff. And also the Skaven have just as many people as you. And they will also just keep coming. So the war of attrition is lost because they also have like guns, you know, which the skeletons with guns, where's that model?
Well, they also just blow up like randomly.
Yeah. And they don't
you
care
know
about
what,
that.
You know what bones aren't great against? Explosions.
Not particularly good, no. Where are the skeletons with guns models? That's what I want.
Are they skeletons with guns that are shooting bones?
That would make sense, yeah. Crossbones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd settle for a bone meringue, Marrow style.
Ooh.
Marrow
dope.
style. Yeah. Did you see the new Marvel games? We got
Yes,
to
I
talk
did.
after this. Oh, man, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I saw that on YouTube, and I was like, Josh is so excited right now. These are both his favorite types of things.
It's a fighting game, and it has Marvel characters. And did you see that they have a new fight pad coming out?
Yeah.
Like an actually officially licensed PlayStation fight pad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna play so many fighting games now.
But you got the new fighting game, and then the beat 'em up, the side scroller beat 'em up.
Yeah,
With Nova with a mullet. Why does Nova have a mullet?
I don't know.
I don't understand that. As a huge Nova guy. Anyway, we'll get back to that. If you know why Nova has a mullet in the new one of the Marvel games, tell me. I'm confused. I've never seen that, and I think I own every Nova thing imaginable. So, anyway, back to Skellingtons.
Yeah.
That's our little video
That's
game
our
side corner.
little side
A
quest.
little
that went on.
bleep bloop side corner there. So Nagash is wounded, and that means, like I said, the skeletons are like, let's fight each other because we're bad at this. And the other big story movement thing, Prince Fordry, once again kind of taking the forefront, his castle has been showing up at random places, and he goes out, seems to be looking for something, and then coming back. So he's hunting for something. this is their famous thing they do where they're like, no one knows what's going on, but this guy clearly is, now that Nagash isn't telling him what to do every second, he's hunting for Thing. Prince Vordry has rebelled against Nagash already once, so I'm guessing he's looking for a way to permanently sever that bond. I don't know that you can, honestly, but like, well,
But they'll lead you on to believe that maybe it could.
Yeah,
And they would then split the factions. Because
Maybe
that's what
it
they
could.
do.
The other cool thing about Vordry is they gave his dragon a little more characteristic. It is a Draconith like Karazai and Krondys, the two Stormcast ones. It's one of them, but unlike the other undead dragons, it remembers it, and it remembers the other dragons and wants to kill them and make them undead. So he has a very specific hatred of those two Stormcast dragons and any Draconith that are still alive, which means that also Kragnos hates those guys. So it's like, wow, everybody really hates the dragons. Is this because of the fact that the dragons got nerfed before they came out? Is this the rules and the dumb public outcry against the dragons' armies bleeding into lore?
Sort of like weirdly working their way together.
Yeah. Everybody hates dragons, huh? Put that in the story.
Well, we'll just work that in.
Yeah. And then one final thing before we go to break, and we start talking about the rules of this book. There's a model released when they did the Cursed City thing, and they had all the little vampire named lords come out. And he is called Kritza, the Rat Prince. Obviously, this is the time of the rats and Skaven. So this guy, which all other vampires kind of hate, because he's just a real piece of crap, and he lives with rats in the sewers, basically. He's like now the premier rat hunter for the Soulblight, because he's powered by rat magic or something. It's kind of a little vague on that. He's a formidable hunter of the Skaven because he kind of just knows what they're going to do because he's scheming like a Skaven does. So they sort of bring him into cities, and he can, like, the Eshin assassins, the Skaven ones that, like, screwed up the Black Pyramid, do all kinds of stuff. They're the ones that, like, you wake up dead, basically. They're the best at being creepy. He can just hunt those down, no problem. Like, he knows where they are. So, weirdly, this guy everyone made fun of him, the weird kid, is now, like, the most popular kid.
Now they need him.
Now they need him because, and also he doesn't care about eating Skaven. It doesn't bother him. Yeah. So he's just like, feast, boys, and everyone else is eating Skaven and dying and melting from the inside, and he's just like, rat blood.
Delicious.
Yes. So he leads a group of vampire outcasts. So the weird goth kids have all gotten together and formed a group called the Gentry of the Twisted Tail. And I'm sure they stand outside the 7-Eleven and dance to rave music and then go fight Skaven. And I love that. It's like, hey, even weird goth vampire kids get to go out and eat some rats.
I'm not going to lie to you. When you said the outcast of the vampires, I briefly imagined Andre 3000 with the side swoop. Like,
all right.
Like emo.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So now, ladies, I think we should take a break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about some rules and stuff. Oh, my butt.
Are you still bringing gray plastic to the table game after game? Do you have a big tournament coming up, but your army is barely glued together? Don't worry, Llama Juice Painting is here to help. Free your minis from their drag gray existence and let Justin bring them to life. Whether you're looking for a single centerpiece to bring your collection together or more battle line options, Llama Juice Painting is your best source for finely painted commission work. Check out some of Justin's work on facebook.com/Llama Juice Painting and get your quote today.
And welcome back to the Animal Hair Podcast as we continue our discussion on the Soulblight Gravelords.
Rattle sounds. Bone rattle sounds.
Bone,
that-
and janglies.
They got that sound that is in every fantasy game. It's in Skyrim. It's in every single fantasy game when skeletons move. It's like the creaking. Yeah, it's hard to make, but everyone knows it.
No. It's like, yeah. It's
Creaking bones.
Creaking bones, but they kind of jangle a little bit because they got like armor and stuff on, so they have like a little bit of like a
chainmail hitting a femur.
But not like a raspy kind of sound like what you would get with like ghosts. It's more of a
like a door.
Yeah.
It's like a door.
And it's not the which is like what?
That's dry bones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what that noise is.
I like that you knew what I was going for. It's fantastic.
And then he comes back up. And
when he's like resetting himself. It's amazing the amount of information that we took from like those side scrollers that were just sound cues.
Oh yeah.
To just like know like, oh, this is in danger.
You know what one of the best sounds in Super Mario World was that's impossible to make with your mouth?
Thump.
Thump was pretty good. The thunk. or the ooh. That's from 64. Mario 64. The ooh.
Oh,
It's the sound of going through a door in a ghost house. Because it's like that, but it's like real crunchy.
Yeah.
It's such a good sound. It's
a very good
sound.
sound.
Is stuck in my head forever. Speaking of
things
rattly
are stuck that are in my
sounds,
head forever.
Yeah. Hey, it's the faction rules. And guess
Hey.
what? You're going to be doing kind of the same thing you've always done in this army forever. What do you think it is? Is it bringing guys back from the dead?
Yes.
Yep. Is it putting them in the grave and then popping them out later?
Yes.
Yep, that's it. That's what you do.
Neat.
That's so, next page. No, all right, so there's new scenery. We'll go back here. Tiny side rant. I bought the new scenery. And let's go ahead and just say that we're going to mispronounce this every single
Cursed
time.
sepulchre.
The cursed sepulchre. And I bought one, or it's a set of 3, right? I went home. I looked on my shelf. I realized I have 2 of the old scenery kits of the mausoleum and graveyard kits that is full of what I think the same friggin' house I just bought. So I probably could have just made a scenery kit out of this stuff. Because it's just a spooky house.
But you didn't.
But I didn't, because I didn't remember that I had those things. So now I have a lot of spooky house stuff. So the your new scenery thing, ancient burial sites, it's set up a little different than most scenery pieces because you set up basically if you okay, let me start over from the beginning. It's set up a little different. Let's do a clean take of that. Okay.
Let's use all of our words in the correct order.
Yeah. So you set up one in the deployment phase using the deploy faction terrain ability as normal. You set it up. The second and third ones are set up after armies have been deployed. That's important because you will be using these things as a focus for a lot of your stuff. And what that gives you is your opponent can't play around where you're going to put them and really screw you over because you put one down and you're like, that's going to be where my guys are coming from. And you're like, okay, cool. Well, here's Gordrak and 10 Brutes. And you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Nothing's making it out of that pile. So that's nice. It gives you a little thing. The rules before this book came out were that any scenery piece could be used as this, and it was kind of a nightmare because if you're playing at a table with a lot of scenery, it's fun. If you're playing at a table with 2 pieces of scenery, your opponent will lock you down forever. Like, it just becomes... I hate things that depend on the table because we've played tournaments where we played in Mos Eisley because they ran out of scenery.
Yeah.
So we played on a Mos Eisley table. So, like, yeah, I don't like that. Or that one stupid river that was impassable that was... I will still
The River of Sadness.
Forever be mad at that. An impassable river, you say. Covering half the table, you say.
Oh, my.
How pretend would I get to the other side of that? Oh, I can't. Cool.
Neat.
Why is that a scenery piece in a tournament? Anyway, so that's how the houses work. Your deployment phase, the Unquiet Dead. Hey, guess what? You can pick a Death Rattle or Dead Walker's unit. It's not been deployed. You can pick unique and hero ones, and you put them in the grave. You can set up more. You can't set up more in the grave than there are in the battlefield. Stormcast rules. One for me, one for you. You've got the Rising Dead after that. Yours are probably in a very different order.
They are in a very different
Yeah,
order.
Josh is tapping away on the iPad trying to keep up with me. I'm just going in the book. You don't really have to keep up on these. They're very fast. Hey,
I
guess
got
what?
this.
Guess what
I'm on top of it now. I just opened all of the tabs.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Just open the whole thing. So pick a friendly unit in your movement phase. It's in the grave. You set that unit wholly within 6 of a friendly cursed scenery piece.
Cursed sploosh.
See how we're getting around that. Cursed sploosh. And more than 9 inches of enemy units, or wholly within 6 inches of the edge of the battlefield, wholly within friendly territory, and more than 9 inches from enemy units. So if your opponent is really fast like Slaanesh, and they've run up on those terrain pieces, and you can't get your units out of the grave, you can still drop them on your back line. So it gives you a little flexibility. That's nice. And you can do that as many times as you want per, like, each unit can come out. So you can summon your whole army on turn 1. It's fine. Here's where it gets slightly different than you've had for probably the last decade of this army, is the Deathly Invocation. So this is once per turn army, any hero phase. You pick a friendly Soulblight Gravelords hero to use it, and then you pick 3 Death Rattle or Deadwalkers units wholly within 12 of the hero. Important again, you can pick heroes and you can pick uniques with this. This. I'm going to tell you a combo later that I really like, and you have to remember that heroes can target other heroes with it. For each target, if they're damaged, heal 3. All right, nice. Your big guys get a little more back. If there's not damage, return a number of slain models with a combined health of up to 3. Okay?
Nice for the skeletons.
That's great for skeletons, great for zombies. So what that basically means is up to 3 units around your hero will be using this. Now, the important thing is it's once per turn army, so only one hero can do this per hero phase.
Yeah.
So if your army's really spread out, you're gonna have to pick who's healing what. So like,
But remember, it's any hero phase. So
It's-
you're doing this in your hero phase. You're doing this in your opponent's,
hero phase, yes. So
which is kind of nice, even if you're running like those nice, maybe some blood cavalry.
yeah. Toss a little heal on them.
Toss a little heal on them.
Well, actually, no, wait. They're not Death Rattle or Death Walkers.
Oh, they're not. They're not.
Fooled you. Don't worry, they're fine. The vampire thing is the best way, I think, to play this in a meta sense. They're fine. They don't. By God, they don't need it. We'll get to them. They're 2 abilities down. We'll answer your question on that.
Yeah.
Endless Legions is the next thing you're gonna get from this. So hey, you healed some guys, but you can't heal a guy if he's not there, right? What if I told you once per battle round, army, any movement phase. Important there. I don't know if you at home noticed me saying that. Any movement phase. Pick a friendly, non-unique Death Rattle or Deadwalker's unit that started the battle with 2 or more models and that has been destroyed to be the target. Set up a replacement. The replacement has to be wholly within 12 of a hero or wholly within 6 of a scenery piece. 9 from enemy units, of course, and they get half the units they started with. So, hey, you can have 40 zombies in a unit, right? They finally peel through that unit and kill your corpse cart. Boom, 20 more zombies come back. Just use them.
It's free real estate.
It's free real estate. And it's any movement phase. So, it's once per battle round, but like you can wait till your opponent kills the stuff in your turn and then you do it on their turn to surprise them. Surprise, now you thought you were going to charge 20 zombies on the way. Yeah. This is an army where your opponent's going to destroy your scenery pieces. They're gonna come for them.
They're gonna come after those things. They're going to get rid of them.
They are going to try their best to smash
And if they
it.
cannot get rid of them, they are at least going to park some units on there so that you cannot raise anything from there.
Yes. They if you are playing against Soulblight now, occupy those areas and kill those buildings because that is going to hurt them a lot more than other units using the scenery pieces. If you kill my teleporter potty in Stormcast, it sucks.
Kinda whatever.
But by the time you got there, I've probably already moved all my guys where I need to anyway,
Yeah.
so whatever, like this. And then once per turn army, end of any turn, you have the Hunger, which is pick a friendly vampire that used a fight ability and heal D3 and 2D3 if they instead destroyed an enemy unit using fight. So
Pretty
don't worry
fancy.
about hitting your vampires with that heal. They get another heal.
Yeah,
right
they get
there.
some good heals as well.
Yeah. So overall, pretty standard stuff. Vampires heal, skeletons come back. Deathly Invocation is pretty good. I mean, that's kind of be how you bring this back. You're not going to win a lot of fights on the first turn with this army, unless, I think if you're Virkos or Castelli, which are the vampires or the werewolves, you might. 'Cause
Yeah.
They hit hard. But a lot of this is the fact that your opponent fights your skeletons, kills 8 of them. You put 3 back. They whiff. You put another 3 back.
Yeah,
Like,
it's interesting that I feel like with this army, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this seems to be the direction that we're going, is that you either have a strike hard, strike first kind of mentality with like the vampires, maybe the werewolves, that type of thing, or
Yes.
you have a kind of drag this fight out over multiple rounds and sort of war of attrition.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to win because you are just going to have so many things on objectives that they can't get through and they can't quite kill. And the whole time, your wizards and stuff are debuffing them. And you're just chewing away at them with little bits of damage. Yeah,
Just you're never like completely wiping them off the table with if you're running like skeletons, death rattle, that type of stuff. But you are sort of wearing them down and just outpointing them round after round after round.
yeah, yep. So maybe a tough one for tournaments if you don't know if you're going to get all 5 rounds. Speaking as a Nurgle player, sometimes you go look at the tournament list and you go, "I'm not going to be able to
get to do everything I want to do."
Yeah, except for that new Rotigus though.
Hey.
Oh, buddy,
Oh,
is he
buddy,
com-
that's gonna be nice.
He's coming with me so much. It's so cool.
Do we turn our attention to the battle formations?
Let's do it. I think we can pass these back and forth if you want to.
We certainly can.
Yeah. So,
They're pretty short.
yeah, they're pretty well because this is funny. It really is. What did you bring? Pick a thing, except for the first one, which is pretty much always good unless you only picked vampires. Mm-hmm. So, why don't you take one?
The Bacchanal of Blood.
Yes.
It gives you a passive. It's the Aristocracy of the Night. The effect is that you add 1 to casting rolls for friendly vampire units that are not in combat, and add 1 to wound rolls for combat attacks made by friendly vampire units that charge in the same turn.
Huh. What? I wonder if vampires are either going to be standing still and casting spells or charging in
just
fight.
throwing hands.
That's kind of what. Yeah.
Wild.
Then how about I throw you down into some... I'll save the Legion for last because that's the most boring, but still probably one of the best ones. Let's go into the Death Stench Drove. This one's pretty cool. So at the once per turn, at the end of any turn for your army, you pick up the 3 free, friendly Deadwalkers. Sometimes words just
Are hard.
escape me. In combat to beat the targets, deadwalkers, whatever. They're zombies, they're bats, and they're wolves. Those are your deathwalkers. I think maybe the corpse cart might be. I don't know. We'll find out. For each target, and there's a 3, you make a pylon move, then pick an enemy unit in combat and do the stupid, confusing D3 rule where you just roll a D3, and buy a special D3, like I did, and then roll it and go, oh, that's how many mortal damage they take.
Neat.
But that's 3 units, so that's a nice little, at the end of the turn. Zombies are fun because as you kill them, they're killing you. They're blowing up when you kill them. The corpse cart's making them crit on attacks, which is funny. And then at the end of the turn, you just keep surging forward into them. So that wall of zombies just constantly doing damage. It's pretty fun. This is the one that was like, man, I like that. I don't want to paint
400 zombies.
I used to have back in the day when you could combine zombie units.
Yeah.
And you could just run 100 zombies in a unit. And then they were the old ones. And I got rid of most of them. I don't want to do that again. I can't do that to myself.
Not again, not yet.
But if you're that guy, this
coming.
is a fun way to play zombies.
Just wait for it. And then we can move to the Death March.
Yeah.
This is a passive. It's the Tides of Bone and Blades. The effect is that you add 1 to the rank characteristic of melee weapons used by friendly Death Rattle units that charged in the same turn for attacks that target unit that has fewer models than the attacking unit. So, 2 kind of important things you have to do.
Yeah.
You have to charge, and then you have to be charging something that has less models than you do. But if you're skeletons, they're probably going to have less models. It's a general rule.
Yeah. Well, no, target unit has fewer models than the attacking unit. They have to have...
Yeah, so
Yeah.
The unit that you are attacking has to have less units.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, but you're thinking of charge, right? What charges a lot in this game? Like, what would you send? Would be
Oh,
sending,
yeah, it's going to be, like, well,
Cav.
cavalry, but...
which is 5s.
Yeah.
So most of the time that won't apply to the units you want to have that.
Yeah, I'm thinking more of like the skeleton horde type of thing.
It's for that.
Yeah.
And when you look at I think Manfred is the one that can declare Manfred and I think Radikar can help with charges with skeletons.
Uh-huh.
But it is weird because I got excited because I was like, oh, the Death March, and then I was like, this isn't how I'm gonna play it because I tend to just slowly walk up, sit there, and then you come to me, and then you can't get through me, and then you're just swamped.
Yeah.
That's one that's like if you're smart, if you're a high level player, I think that's going to be a really good one because you're going to position yourself to where you're always getting that advantage. But
Yeah.
sometimes
Skeletons are packs of 10, right?
yes, yeah, skeletons and the Barrow Knights and the Barrow whatever the Graveguard, but they have a new name are 10. So
I think it's one of those. I think I have to look at the. I can see where this has it, and like where the advantage is here.
yeah,
Because the rend is good.
Rend
but-
is good. They don't have any.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? Is it's not like we're giving them what +1 rend
Yeah,
on something that is a 0 rend usually.
4s and 3s, I think.
Yeah,
so
so it's not.
it
It's
is
fine.
the great misdirect of death. And it's the misdirect of Nurgle, is that if you're boosting your attacks, I think you're not thinking of how your army works strategically. If you're playing it this way,
like really long term. Yeah.
the attacks are not going to chip away Plague Bearers. Oh, they might do 1 or more damage. That's fine. They're a wall that you get to put in place and never have to move that wall, while your other stuff does work. So that one, I think it's kind of interesting. But also, if you're playing all skeletons, there's an Army of Renown that is all skeletons that kind of, you won't use that anyway, so I don't know what that's for.
Yeah.
Somebody will figure it out. Somebody will win a tournament with it now that I've said I don't get it. Just to show me.
Just to show you up.
Just to show me. And then finally, Horror Unending, the Legion of Shaish. Hey, you can pick an additional target when using Deathly Invocation. All right.
Neat.
That's pretty good. If you're bringing a lot of 10 packs, good. That one's also kind of weird because, like, good, but you probably will end up using healing bigger stuff maybe because a 10 pack of skeletons is going to crumple to most things. Mm-hmm. So you won't be healing as much. Mm-hmm. We'll get into why I think that one's probably like your, hey, I don't know what else to pick. I don't have any vampires in my army.
I didn't bring vampires.
Or
so
I have
let me
one
do some-
vampire.
So let me do something else.
Yeah, I have one vampire. I don't have any zombies. And I don't want to try to remember to charge and also count models. So, easy one.
What do we move to next, Zach?
Let's do some heroic traits.
Okay.
These are the cursed bloodlines, hero only. So this is you would think that would be for vampires, but actually they're pretty good on the skeleton boys. You want to take one? Want to grab one?
Yeah, I'll grab the Lash of the Sire.
Yeah.
So you pick another friendly Soulblight Gravelords unit within the unit's combat range to be the target, and you roll a dice on a 2-up. If the target is not in combat, it can move d6 inches, but cannot move into combat during any part of that move. If the target is in combat, it can make a pylon move.
So it's a hero phase move on a 2-up.
Yep.
Pretty good. The D6 part, pretty okay, but the big part, I think, they're pile-in move. If you're already in combat, wrap those skeletons around.
Yeah, they're just kind of moving around.
Make sure that you cannot get on the objective because you've piled so many dudes on there, you know.
Slide everybody to the left. You're doing the cha-cha now.
That's how I always played skeletons. You hit me, and then I slowly encompass you in a wall of skeletons. Let's go with Unbending Will. That's a hero phase ability. Again, pick a friendly Death Rattle or Deadwalker's unit that has 2 or more models and is wholly within 12 of this unit to be the target. Add D6 to its control score. All right.
That's kind of handy.
It's funny that's like, all right, because it's really good, but to me, the Johnny Bad player, it's kind of just boring. So I don't want to do it. I want to do the other ones instead. But
for a game that is point-based and you of grabbing objectives,
yeah.
kind of nice.
Yeah, if you have 20 skeletons and you add another 4 or 5 to their control.
Well, I don't think you have to do on 20 skeletons. I'm thinking more of like if you just have like a dude.
Well, it has to have 2 or more models.
Right.
But it didn't have to start with, like, if you only have 2 skeletons on there.
And then you're just like, hey, those 2 skeletons, they count for an 8 now.
Do some work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, we have the Unhinged Rampager, which is passive. You can reroll charge rolls for this unit in your charge phase. That's the boring
pretty
one.
solid. That's
good, but it's pretty boring.
Yeah, it's pretty good, but your vampire on horse, you're gonna probably pick that guy.
How about artifacts and powers?
How about some? So they've got some deathly heirlooms, looms for your hair, your undead skeleton hair. So I'm gonna pick one. I'm gonna pick the Shard of Night, or as I like to call it, the Shart of Night. You ignore modifiers to save rolls for shooting attacks that target this unit. That's right. Ethereal, but only a little bit at the cost of an artifact. Sorry, you're not Night Haunt. But honestly, shooting is still a problem for death armies as I look at the KO guy. So, like, maybe throwing that on your guy is not a bad idea.
Not the worst idea in the world.
If you know your opponent's going to show up with 3 ironclads and just be like, what's up, vampire hero?
I don't understand what the problem is for this melee game that I brought guns to.
Yeah, 40 who? How many Ks? And you just get blasted.
40 who? We also have the Amulet of the Graves, which is a once per battle your hero phase. If there are fewer than 3 friendly cursed sepulchres on the battlefield, set up a cursed sepulchre in the battlefield more than 9 inches from all enemy units, and more than 1 inch from all friendly units, and more than 3 inches from all objectives and other terrain features. So, get more grave.
Once per battle, if one of them gets blown up, put another one back. Considering your army might be built around using those a lot.
Might be kind of important.
Especially if you know that's how you want to play the game with those things.
Well, that means you can get like 4 graves down.
Well, if you have fewer than 3.
Oh, if you have fewer, never mind.
So you have to wait.
I read the whole thing, but did not internalize the whole thing.
I read, but I did not comprehend. I didn't listen to myself.
Remember, kids, reading comprehension is important.
Yeah. Oh, and also whatever Josh said. So, what you do with this is you set one up way up front. You summon a butt ton of zombies or something out of it, and then by the time your opponent chews through it and gets out of their deployment zone, you put it halfway in between them and the next objective. And you surprise! Here it is again, like that. All right, let's go with the Terminus Clock. This one's a fun one. It is your hero phase. Roll a dice on a 3-up until the start of your next turn. Subtract 1 from casting rolls for enemy wizards where they're within 18 of this unit. It's kind of fun, but that 3-up is going to bite me. I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. So I'm probably not picking that one. But it's there.
It is there.
I like that it's there. And the artifacts are kind of meh because your spell lore is really good. I think spell lore is probably one of the better, more solid spell lores because of what's going on in it. It's very dependable, which is nice.
And we'll talk about them right now.
Let's talk about them right now. Do you want to pick one based on name only because you haven't read any?
Indeed. I will do the Prison of Grief.
All right.
It is you pick you pick a friendly Soulblight Gravelords wizard to cast a spell and pick a visible enemy unit within 12 inches of them to be the target, and then make a casting roll of 2d6 as normal. The effect is that the target has strike last until the start of your next turn.
Pretty good.
Cast on a 7.
Pretty good because a lot of your army's paper, so making sure you get to hit them first, you get a little more something out of it. I'm going to take the main one next, Vile Transference. So cast on a 7. It is pick a visible enemy within 18, 2d6, the usual. Roll a number of dice equal to the number of models in the target unit. For each 6, inflict a mortal damage on the target. If any enemy models are slain by this spell, heal d3. So, you want to hit a horde. You want to hit something, because it's usually, when we have the Chaos Blade spell, it's on a 5-up. Like, that's kind of the standard of this spell. But the side effect of heal d3 is pretty nice if you do any damage. Also, I want you to draw your attention to the keywords there.
Unlimited.
Unlimited. Everybody on your side of your table can be blasting this spell.
Just throwing this thing out there like whose business?
So if there were to say a way to play this list, an army, with only vampire heroes as your entire army, which is a thing you can do. It's not in the book. It's from one of the previous books, but we'll talk about it briefly. You could just blast the spell out a whole bunch. Is it effective? Sometimes. Is Beast Claw Raiders? No.
On Gargants? No.
No.
But on Horde units...
One guy on the Gargants will get the heal D3, the last guy to ping one of the little boys. But but against, like, goblins, would be pretty fun, you know? Cities, like, anything that's got, like, one wound Horde units.
Anything that has,
honestly,
like,
against Other Death.
Yeah, Other
it's
Death
pretty
is really,
good.
really solid. Anything that has chafe units.
Yeah.
Like, just low, like, high model count, low wound, chuff.
It is kind of funny to think about how Soulblight is pretty good about fighting Soulblight.
Yeah.
Very few armies that I'm aware of are good against themselves. Like, they're mostly just... Nurgle v. Nurgle is just, like, frustrating. Just
impossible.
You two Nurgle players, go get a snack, get high, hang out and tell a story. The game's not going to go anywhere anyway.
Like,
that's what you came to do
Orc
anyway.
versus Orc players is kind of a coin flip.
Yeah, it's whoever gets to hit first.
Yeah, pretty much.
Between the three Orc factions that are still currently in play. I'm just kidding. It's June 1st. They're
gone, baby.
They're gone. All the stuff's gone. I looked, and I suddenly looked at my entire collection of models, and then all of a sudden I heard one of my Weird Knob guys on board looks at me and goes, "I don't feel so good," and then he just turned to dust. And then half my collection, all my Stormcast Sacrosanct, just turned away. Aventus looked at me and went, "No," and then just was gone. Yeah. It was pretty sad.
It's a rough day.
Except that you can still just play them with your friends and who cares? You know, have a good time.
Well, I do.
Oh, yeah, okay. Also, I will say some of the stuff got stealth legend in this book. Some of the things are now legends, and some of them are going to be out in the next year that are in this book. Well, they're not in the book, but they're in the supplement thing that you can get. So check that stuff. You weren't using a lot of it anyway, to be completely honest.
It's a bunch of older stuff anyway.
But I guess you could get kind of upset.
And then finally, you have Waste Away, which is cast on a 7. For the effect is that for the rest of the turn, you subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of the target's melee weapon. So you're casting this on some enemy.
Yeah. So you've got debuffs, basically.
Yeah.
You make them strike last and do 1 less damage. You pick one unit, and that unit is just, like, bad.
Real tired, real sleepy.
Hit something with a 2 damage, sits down to 1, hits last, you get to hit it first. Like, this is how you set up some amount of damage. But you really...
And also just keep yourself alive.
That's kind of what it is. You're not trying to damage, you're mitigating the damage coming into you, because you will outnumber them. Whatever it is, you will outnumber it. And that's your spell lore and stuff.
Yeah, it is.
So I guess we should take another quick break.
And then we'll come back and we'll do some war
Come back
scrolls.
and maybe there's some guy that I'm looking at that likes to cast magic that we can talk about. Maybe we'll have to Nagash him later. That was supposed to be better. Bye!
Gigabytes Cafe in Marietta, Georgia is your one-stop shop for everything you need for your favorite hobby or fandom. Gigabytes carries a wide selection of miniature lines including Games Workshop, Reaper, and WizKids, not to mention all the terrain, paints, and hobby supplies you need to supplement your tabletop games. Not a wargamer? The cafe boasts an ever-growing selection of hundreds of board games, TCGs, CCGs, and other nerd-based acronyms eager to join your collections. So what are you waiting for? Go to gigabytesonline.com and start shopping now.
But legalized comedy, am I right,
Legalized
guys?
comedy.
God, shut the
Fucking
fuck up.
douchebag.
Anyway, speaking
Fuck
of...
you, Elon Musk. Put that on my fucking
I
tombstone.
feel like I should cut in right there.
Yeah, fuck you, Elon Musk. Put it on my tombstone.
Oh, man. We have I like to think people come to this because we have a huge international audience.
Yeah.
More than half of our audience is international.
Yeah.
I like to think they listen to us because we provide a real time, just
real-
like we did in 2020. The pulse, we're the barometer on the pulse of the failures of capitalism. As we talk about spending too much money on toys,
We're cutting edge.
I'm well aware of how silly this is.
Yeah.
We're like, let's spend money on toys. The world's on fire. But then what else are you going to do? The world's on fire. Have fun.
I'm not the guy to fix it. I've already identified that.
And my message is you should enjoy all the time you have because who the hell knows? And if paint little stormcasts, little skeletons is your thing, do it. I'm excusing myself.
Oh, you're just giving yourself a free pass.
I'm giving myself a free pass, yes. Because I have painted a lot of little skeletons. And we're going to talk about some of those right now.
Yes, we are.
This one's name
We
is
have
Carlos.
some war scrolls that we're gonna pop into here.
Let's talk about. We can't get into this without talking about the main Bone Lord himself. Speaking of tyrannical despots,
Nagash Daddy himself.
but one that actually gets stuff done because he did start off being a priest way back in the day. Stole all the spells, learned all the magic, climbed to the top. Like he's a self-made undead man. So let's talk about Nagash, the supreme lord of the undead. Guess what? He's in every death army, and he's a little different. And I will go down right now in history for saying I was going to say downtown.
Oh. Bobby Brown?
We're looking around.
Oh.
Yeah. But Sugar, I'm going down swinging. So I'm talking about Nagash, and in this book, I think this is the best war scroll for him. I think in this army, which it's his army.
It does belong here.
Yeah.
If there's one place that Nagash belongs, it's here.
It's here, and it works so well. So let's talk about him. 10-inch move, 18 health, 3-up save, 10 control. Pretty good. 10 control. Just want to point that out. He will stand on an objective for you.
10, 10, 10.
He's got 2 attacks, which is nice. I like when they reduce the number of attacks on things, even if it makes it worse, because I have to roll less misses. So
it makes me feel better about myself.
Yeah. He's got Alec and Ash, Staff of Power, which is 4 attacks, 3s and 3s, Ren 2, damage d6. And Zafet Nabar.
Bless you.
Thank you. 4 attacks, 3s and 3s, Ren 2, damage 3. So, because of course, why would they make you just roll all 8 at once? Get a different set of dice, roll them all at the same time anyway. The damage is the only thing that's different. So, he can hit pretty hard-ish. You probably don't want him to be in a fight all the time.
It's not his preferred landing spot.
No,
but
no.
in a pinch, not too shabby.
Not too shabby. And he's got a 5-up ward, so he'll do okay. I should also point out, let's just jump down to the keywords real fast. He's a War Master. Duh. Unique hero monster. Yeah. Wizard 9, baby.
Yeah.
Just cast some spells. You're going to do
He's
it.
a spell slinger.
So when he's battle damaged, if he
Also
has 10...
Ward 5.
What?
He's a Ward 5.
I said that already.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Promise you didn't.
Roll the tape
Roll
back.
the tape.
Roll the tape back. Oh, that's right, Zach. You said he had roll. See, there's you admitting me on the tape. I put it on. It's on the tape. I can't. When he's battle damaged, if he has 10 or more damage points, he loses 3 from his power level. All right, that's fine. He adds 2 to his casting roll when he has not miscast any spells. If he miscasts a spell, ignore the restriction that would stop him from casting it. So your first miscast, you lose the +2, but you can keep casting. Yeah, he used to have a lot more of a plus to stuff, but also one miscast and you were hanging out with your giant centerpiece going, well, I hope you get close enough to poke me. So I think that's kind of better, actually. Most of your spells are going to be within 7s and 6s anyway, so, not
You're
that terrible.
casting almost everything. Probably on like a 4 on the dice.
Yeah, your first spell, you're probably trying to throw out an invocation, because that's going to give you the +2 on making sure that gets out, and then you're going to go down the list of the other stuff. Because with 9 spells, if you remember from our previous section, there are 3 spells in the book, 1 invocation. Do some quick radio math. You have 5 spell slots left over. What are you going to do with those? Well, let's jump over to Invocation of the Gash and say what you're going to do with those. So, he can cast the spell more than once per phase. Nice. It's cast on a 7. Pick a visible enemy unit wholly within 18 that has not been picked to be the target.
Of this spell.
Visible, unit, not just enemy. Any unit wholly within 18 that has not been a target of this spell. If it's an enemy, it takes D3 mortal damage. Nice. If it's a friendly death unit, you either return a number of slain models to 3, so it's a Invocation of Nagash. It's definitely Invocation, but you get to cast it. Or they have a Ward 5. So you put your Ward on your heroes, you put your skeletons back together. Notice that it doesn't heal, so it doesn't do the part of Invocation, but that's okay, because guess what? Invocation's not a spell. So he already did that to 3 units, maybe 4 if you took that. And then you also just get to heal and do everybody. Makes sense. You can't magic missile. Gone are the days where I would just roll up and do 8 magic missiles into one target. Just be like, here you go. This could be 8 damage, or this could be your entire Gordrak in one hit kind of thing. So you got to spread it around, but doing a little bit of damage everywhere is nice. The big thing, I think, is honestly just giving Ward 5 to a bunch of stuff. Because your whole army has Ward 6, because it's death. Ward 5 is pretty good.
Ward 5 is so much better.
Tossing it on some of your heroes, not a bad call. Tossing it on some skeletons, not a bad call.
So good.
There's no bad way to use a Ward 5.
Yeah.
I guess casting it on yourself would be silly. That's the bad way to do it.
That's the bad way to use the Ward 5. But then you also get other stuff, Zach.
Oh, man. It's back. My favorite thing he can do. If they removed it, death players would riot.
You mean Supreme Lord of the Dead?
Oh, no, that doesn't really matter. This is cool. This is once per battle. Guess what? You get to set up a replacement unit identical to the one. It can't be a hero.
Identical.
Yeah. Can't be a hero, can't be a unique, and it has to be within 12 of Nagash.
Yeah.
But
all those those bones that were getting killed before. This one you just hey, that pack of 20? Back.
But you said something in that sentence that was funny. You said bones.
I did say bones.
This says death.
It does.
So you brought those 10 vampires on horses.
You could just bring all of them back.
Here comes 10 vampires on horses
again.
again. just fuck you. Here's 600 points of an army that you just get to come back.
It's amazing how quickly you stack points in this army.
Yes, yeah.
That you're like, oh, I'm a 2,000 point army. But in actuality, you could be like close to 3, maybe even a little more, just with how much regeneration is happening here.
That is the strength of the death rattle side of this army, is you show up and you go, I paid a lot of points for what doesn't feel very powerful. And then halfway through the game, you've brought back so much stuff, you're like, oh, I see what's going on here. Like,
you go,
I'm getting a bunch of stuff.
These things are expensive, and these things didn't do a ton. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, wait a second. There's a whole other half of the army that is just this army again.
So yeah, your hero phase, you bring back a huge unit. Or, I don't know, something else that could be kind of cool. And then you go over here, and then your battle round, in the movement phase, you bring back half of something that died. And this is after you've healed everything on the table. Basically, everything on the table has been healed. Yeah, once again, all skeletons in the gash is a way to play.
Sorry, I have like the
looking at behind me.
I have the smallest amount of window where I can see like out.
Yeah.
And I shit you not, there was a squirrel that walked up to the window and was like, "What's going on in here?"
Oh, I give them peanuts.
Oh, okay.
They're waiting for food, probably.
Gotcha. All right, that makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah. This is
I thought a
little
squirrel
peek into the studio here.
I thought we just had a squirrel that was like, "Hey, I want to get on the podcast."
I throw peanuts out there because the crows will fight the squirrels, and I find the chaos amusing. So I just throw handfuls of peanuts out there. Yeah, it used to be geese would fight the crows, but there's no more geese. It's the wrong season for them, I guess, or something.
Or the crows killed the geese.
That would be. Yeah, I guess the crows could have won. I don't know.
Crows are crafty. Crows
for a
can
while
use
there.
tools.
I had let me put it up. You know what? The Instagram we forget to use. I'll put up the video.
Instagram?
Yeah. I'll put up the video of me with 3 geese following me around. Ooh. They would sit outside the door to the building, and then people would try to get in, and they would honk and hiss and flap their wings, and so people were afraid to get out of their cars because they didn't know how to ask for food. So that's how they were asking for food, but people were like, I'm going to die. So I had to start feeding them away from the door so they wouldn't attack people coming in. Work in a place where your boss has to ask you to stop feeding geese because they're starting to attack employees. Anyway.
It's an unsafe work environment.
Yeah, I make it that way, baby. OSHA doesn't have a regulation for that. No, so Nagash, my favorite thing. Somebody's got to make a sign. My favorite thing, Hand of Dust. It works the same as it always kind of has. You, in your end of any turn, you pick a hero or monster in combat with this unit. You hold up your hands. One has a dice in it. One doesn't have a dice in it. Your opponent has to pick one. If they pick the empty one, that target is immediately destroyed. Just gone. Just poof. I remember that time David used a Dread Saurian back when you could do that.
Yeah.
1,400 point model.
And you dusted it.
And it ran up to Nagash, and I went, nope, and just killed it. He felt so sad. It was really funny, though.
It was.
Yeah. So Nagash, quality. I'm liking Nagash a lot in this edition. I can't wait to use him. Like, I'm back on this being a fun model. I think you're going to see it in some competitive lists as well because of just the sheer power of 9 spells of regeneration and damage coming out. Like, honestly, D3 damage to a bunch of stuff isn't bad. Mm-hmm. Like, also, short of techless, who's going to be able to start unbinding enough of Nagash to matter?
Nobody.
Yeah, and so you brought a bunch of wizards. Your army probably doesn't want to deal with 1,000 skeletons if it's a bunch of wizards. So, you know.
It's a very challenging sort of thing to play against.
Yeah.
In most cases, you're pretty much just going to be hoping that Nagash just kind of fails some spells.
You really are. You're banking on your opponent to forget to do the right spells in the right order or something.
Something along those
lines. It's no longer spreadsheets of Nagash like it was when I played, where it's like I have to do this spell and then this spell because then this spell is like all that stuff.
Kind of, it's fine. It's whatever.
2 Nagashes versus each other is funny because it's just 2 people rolling off unbinds against each other,
just slinging spells back and forth.
Just like you.
But there are other heroes. There's not just Nagash.
No, there's not.
What do we check on our boy Manfred?
Let's check in on Manfred. Let's hop a page in. So, if you're wondering what the hell's going on with this episode, Josh has picked a couple of units that he likes or wants to talk about in there. So, and I have added a couple in as well. So we're not covering every single unit.
Because there's too many units.
There's too many units.
And you're not here for a 4-hour podcast.
Bat's gonna bats, wolf gonna wolf. You know what half of this stuff does already. We're kind of focusing on the fun ones that we think are cool. You get them all on your war scroll, you know what they do.
And Manfred is sort of an exception to this rule because we've always talked about Manfred.
We always talk about Manfred, and Arkin's not in this book. He's only Ossiarch only. I knew it was going to happen because he's Egyptian looking, and they put him in the Egyptian. Like, fine.
Time to stick him in one book.
Fine, whatever. When does our Ossiarch book come in? That's probably going to be the last book out.
Probably. It usually is because it's usually the test book.
In the lore, they've kind of just without Nagash's guidance and without Arkan just went, okay, and they're just not doing anything really.
Just hanging out.
Katakros got his
Play Nintendo.
butt kicked. Yeah.
Play Nintendo too.
Bone Tendo.
Bone Tendo.
They all pick Marrow.
Oh,
It's their
weird.
favorite. Boomerang.
No dry bone?
Oh, yeah. They play as Dry Bones in Mario Kart.
Okay.
Am I an Aussie? That's who I play as in Mario Kart.
You might be.
All right, so let's talk about Manfred von Karstein, the Mortark of Night. 12-inch
What a dope
move.
name. What a dope name.
It is a pretty dope name. It's too bad he's such a poop as a character. He's a good model, but
Yeah.
like you either love or hate Manfred, and I think everyone hates Manfred as a character because he's just always messing with stuff.
We're always checking in on him.
So 12-inch move, 14 health, 3 up save, 5 control. He's got Geistvor, the sword of unholy power. He's such a kid
Such a
trying too
tryhard.
hard. That's what he is. 6 attacks.
He's an Elon Musk.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. Manfred gets stuff done at least. Yeah. 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, Rin 1, 2 damage. And then Eshigoroth's Claws, which is his thing he's on. 5 attacks, 4s and 2s, Rin 3, damage 3. That's pretty punchy. You know, it's not bad.
That's a pretty decent mount.
You'll probably use him in combat.
Yeah.
His sword is, if this unit has slain any models this turn, for the rest of the turn, add 1 to the attacks of any friendly Death Rattle and Death Walker's units that are wholly within 12 of him. So I was saying earlier, like, if you're trying to make skeletons turn on the damage, you probably bring in Manfred because that's going to kind of work for that. He's got a spell. Do you want to read his spell? The Wind of Death.
Oh my god, I
Wind
would
of
love
Wind.
to. But
You
I'm
hit us
trying
with
to
a
find
Wind
it.
of Death earlier in the studio.
Oh my god. Yeah, there it is. I found it. Haha. Everything's so disorganized.
I didn't mean
on
to
this
pick
thing.
the one that was not anywhere else.
It's somewhere completely differently. Anyway, it's a Wind of Death. It's cast on a 7. You pick a point on the battlefield within 18 inches of the caster and pick up to 3 enemy units within 6 inches of that point invisible to the caster to be the targets. The effect is that you roll a d3 for each target, and on a 2-up you inflict an amount of mortal damage on the target equal to the roll.
All right, so magic missile, but on 3 people.
Pretty good. Well, magic grenade.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, up to 3. So magic grenade missile.
Magic.
We strapped a grenade to a missile. The perfect weapon. It's got a knife on the end, too.
Well, that's so it can stick in the ground better.
Yes, it sticks in the ground, explodes. He's also got Eshigoroth's Hunger, which is your rampage, so it's in the combat phase, once per turn. If the unit charged this turn, roll a dice. On a 3-up, it has strikes first. So yeah, you're probably throwing him into something, hoping that you do that. Oh, yeah, Eshigoroth can get damaged and lose 2 attacks on its claws.
He also has a fun thing on his redeploy.
Yeah, this is the tactical part of him, because he is, despite a buffoon, he is pretty smart at good battle. But he's a buffoon also. So what does it do? Tell me what it does.
This is the reaction. You declared the redeploy command for a Soulblight Gravelords unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit. And the effect is that the unit using the redeploy command can move into the combat when using that ability. So you go, oh, redeploy, and then now you're in combat.
Yeah.
Preventing charges.
Cuts off a charge. Just throw some zombies in the way. Or throw some skeletons in. He charges in. They get a boost. He does damage.
Such a sneaky little trick you can do.
Yeah.
Very tricksy.
He's pretty sneaky. The only thing that makes me dislike him is that that kit is super hard to find. And I have one, and it's Arcan, and I did not magnetize because that was like the 3rd kit I ever built. So I went with Arcan, which I don't regret. I'm glad. I looked at the 3 and I was like, well, Skeleton Lich guy, that's the coolest guy. But it would be nice to have the option. So if you're just getting into this and you somehow found a Mortark kit, magnetize it. Nobody cares what color the thing they're riding on is. It's almost the same. It just depends on whether or not he wears a hat. And I'll be honest, I don't think I put the right hat on mine. So, oh well.
I'm pretty sure you can say whatever you wanted to.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares. And
Who's
if they
next?
did, they're not worth playing with.
Yeah, right?
How about Prince Vordry?
Oh! The new Star Child, the new hotness in this book, Prince Vordry. I've brought him and some vampires on steeds, and this is my army, and turn 1, I'm in your face.
Correct.
Prince Vordry. That's the Prince Vordry you're
That
talking
is the
about?
Prince Vordry that I'm talking about. Are you vamping so that way you can find the squirrel?
No, it's right here.
Oh, okay.
So these were all on the same page. That's right. I was just doing a bit, man. All right. He's on that stupid huge dragon thing. This is the one that's like, would you like to have the lance pre-broken? I don't know if you can see the full lance
You cannot.
on that. I'm going to show you the back of the book.
The tip of the lance is off the page.
Here, I would like to show you a little good radio here. Look at the back of the book. And look at the size of the lance of that figure.
I'm excited for somebody to 1,000% impale themselves.
Someone's going to actually get stigmata trying to pick that up. It's going to go straight through their hand, and it's going to draw actual blood.
No way that's going to end well for anyone.
No, it is a very, very cool looking model. But oh man, does it come pre-broken to your tournament unless you are super careful. If you thought Nagash's wobbliness was bad,
But boy, do I have the model for you.
boy, what did we say earlier? It may not have even made the cut, but it was like if you want to have an army that's already broken by the time it gets to the store to play,
This is the one for you.
army. All right, so let's talk about Vordry and his dragon Shordmeyer.
Yeah, he's got a 12-inch move. He's got 18 health. He's got 5 control and a 3-up save.
Yeah.
He's got a ranged weapon. It's 10
Sort
inches.
of.
It's it's a Shordmeier's miasma.
Yeah.
It's a 10-inch range. It's a D6 attack. It's 3 to hit, 3 to wound, 2 rend, 2 damage, and it's a shoot in combat. And it's
Yeah.
off of his companion.
It's a dragon breath,
a
but
dragon
it's a
breath.
spooky. It's
Yeah.
dragon burp.
It's a miasma.
Yeah.
And then he's got a couple of different weapons. He has the Blood Lance, 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, 2 rend, 2 damage each, +1 to damage for a charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you also have the Shoremare's Maw of his companion, 3 attacks, 4s and 2s, 2 damage each. 2 rend, 3 damage each.
Yes.
And then
yes.
the Mount's Claws, which is 7 attacks, 4s and 2s, 1 rend, 2 damage each. That is a beefy profile.
I wonder how much of this we're actually pronouncing correct in any of these things.
Almost
Probably none of it. Yeah.
absolutely zero.
Probably none. Yeah,
Bunch
so
of
he
Brits.
is an insane amount of damage output.
Yeah.
And that's not all, because when you start reading what else he does.
All the abilities. He's got
he
so
can
many
get battle
of them.
damaged, because, he's a monster, and
'Cause
that's,
he
that's
is.
what they do now.
He does have the Saint of Slaughter, which is end of any turn. You declare pick a friendly non-monster vampire unit that destroyed a unit this turn using a fight ability and is wholly within 12 inches of this unit to be the target. The effect is that you pick one of the following effects to apply for the rest of the battle.
The rest of the what?
The rest of the battle.
So, like, the entire game.
the whole damn thing.
So you're telling me he looks over at some boys and goes, "Good job, boys," and they get one of these things.
They certainly do.
I wonder what you're supposed to put with him. Yeah, I don't know.
Who
Let's
knows?
figure this out.
Yeah. So you can get one of these following effects. You add 2 to the target's move characteristic.
Yeah.
You add 1 to the attacks characteristic of the target's melee weapons.
Oh.
Or you add 1 to the damage characteristic of the target's melee weapons.
Ah!
More than one effect can apply to a unit at the same time. However, each effect can only be applied to a unit once.
That was the Vince McMahon gif where he's continuously leaning back in the
he's
chair.
like,
Because you're like, 2-inch move. All right, you'll see the Vampire Knights super fast anyway. Oh, add 1 to attacks. Pretty good. Oh, add 1 to damage.
I
so
can
good.
have all of them on there?
Yeah. You're going to put the movement one last. Yeah. Because it's the one that's like, well, nobody else over here killed anything. Yeah, that's insane.
Gross.
We'll go over the Vampire Knights real quick when we get, after this.
Yeah.
To point out that this is how you play that army if you just want to be like, hey, remember how death armies are slow and plotting and attrition?
Not this one.
This is Varangard now. I just have Slaves to Darkness, but they're cheap and there's more of them.
Have some dragons.
And I have a dragon. Can you imagine? Dragons.
If I had a dragon?
Dragons, just in general.
I can imagine Pokemon.
Yeah, me too. Can you, though? Can you come up with a Pokemon that doesn't exist? We were trying to do that a couple of days ago.
Pokemon
And it's
that doesn't exist?
really hard. Because, any animal has been Pokemoned. And even stuff, has been Pokemoned. Rotom cheats because that's a lot of electrical things. I also hate Rotom. I was thinking we don't have a Pokemon that's just a floating eyeball.
No, we have a pair of keys, though.
Yeah, we have Klefki. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking a floating eyeball would be kind of weird.
A little bit.
It had to have some arms, maybe wispy arms coming out of it or something. What if it's just real monsters?
Oh.
Pokemon is just Crumb. That's what it is.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what else can Vordry do. This is what people come to this show for.
They certainly do.
Top 5, baby. Top 5.
Top 5. Keep it going. He also wants a once per turn army any combat phase. It is
Yeah.
the Trail of Crimson.
I just want you to read this, and I want to see if you read it correctly the first time.
This unit can make a pylon move, then make an enemy unit in combat with it to be the target. Effect: you roll a dice on a 4-up. Inflict an amount of mortal damage on the target equal to the roll.
You notice that's not on a D3.
No.
So you can just do 6 damage.
Yes.
By walking
You
into
got
town.
a 50% chance of doing at least 4.
You got a 33% chance of doing at least 50% more damage. That's incredible.
Ridiculous.
That is.
It's either it's the ultimate all or nothing. You're either going to do a crap load of damage or nothing.
And you know what, though? It's free, so might as well. Well, you're going to do a crap load of damage.
Well,
Because
yeah.
you're piling it with this guy.
Yeah.
And guess what you probably did to yourself in the hero
Well,
phase?
you probably give yourself a little
Quick
spell
blood?
last.
Little Skeely
little
Alps?
quick blood.
Maybe.
Yeah. This is a cast on a 7. This unit has strike first until the start of your next turn.
Yeah.
So you boosted yourself. You made yourself strike first. You're all up in the business. You did a little piling, and then you said, all right, cool. Stab, 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 stab. Everything around me is dead.
And you didn't, well, let's say maybe you didn't kill the thing you're fighting entirely. Hey, boys, get them.
Get them.
Boys, get them. Now your boys are better. Sick.
Disgusting.
Just disgusting. I'm gonna call an audible and hop over to the Vampire Knights in person real fast.
Fucking dare you?
Because this is how you're gonna see this. I'm doing this because you're gonna see this army.
Can't believe you've deviated from the very
I-
structured show that I've put together,
I made
Zach.
it through two. No, Vampire Lord of Nightmare Steed. Ha! I didn't deviate yet. I'll make it through 3 before I deviate. That's a record for me. Hey. I was about to do Vampire Lord, and I was like, it's deviating. All right, Vampire Lord on Nightmare Steed. 12 moves, 7 health, 3 save, 2 control. It's got weapons, which are charge plus 1 damage, 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 2, damage 2, and Nightmare Hooves and Teeves. On
Teeves?
Yeah, Teeves. On the horse, 3 attacks, 5s and 3s, which is
He's got the little jumpers.
it's got a weird little jumpers. What did they call the Iron Jaws one? Trotters? I love that so much. Such a cute word. Anyway, the horse has no rend and it's got 1 damage. I think it's funny that it's 5s and 3s. It's a weird spread.
Very
It's usually
strange
4s and 2s. So, kind of worse,
Yeah.
I guess. If you declare a charge ability, you can reroll the charge roll for that charge ability. So, I guess you wouldn't put the thing on him that lets him reroll charges because you've already
got it.
Yeah. Before the charges move, you pick a friendly Blood Knights unit that's not in combat, wholly within 12 of him, and has not charged. Immediately, if this unit charges, immediately after that charge ability, the second target can immediately use the charge ability, even if it's not your charge phase. That is so many words to just say he brings his friends with him.
Yes, he charges and another thing charges.
Another thing charges with him, but that is the most paragraph on that. And then any combat phase, pick a friendly Blood Knights unit that charged this turn and is wholly within 12 of him. I wonder how you pull that off. And they add 1 to rend characteristic of their Templar weapons. Cool.
Neat.
I wonder what I'm deviating. I wonder what those guys look like.
Freaking dare you?
I wonder what they look like. I don't know where they are.
I don't know what I know. Blood Knights are here.
On page
24.
Uh-oh.
I actually don't know.
I don't know.
But I can tell you because I have it open in front of me.
Where are
Blood Knights.
Oh, there they are.
They're a 12-inch move. They're 3 health. They're 1 control. 3, and they're a 3-up save.
Yeah.
They have the Templar weapons. They are normally 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1 rend, 1 damage, anti-infantry plus 1 rend, charge plus 1 damage.
So when they pile into your cities of Sigmar,
They are.
rend 2, damage 2. Oh, wait a minute. Did you charge them with this thing? Cool. Rend 3, damage
Rend 3,
2.
damage 2. They are nasty. And their hooves are 3 attacks, 5s and 3s, no rend, 1 damage each. So the hooves are whatever. But they also have a passive. They have the Riders of Ruin, which is when this unit moves, it can pass through models in enemy infantry units and can pass through the combat ranges of enemy infantry units, but it cannot end a move in the combat that's specified there, right?
Well, hold on. There's a little thing in there that's sneaky that I think that people might miss the first time they look at this. This is a passive, so it's not an activated ability.
Right.
When it moves, it cannot end a move in combat unless specified in the ability used.
Right.
So there are some abilities
That could
that
allow you
you
to do so.
end in combat.
Yes.
So they can take advantage of that and move through infantry right into that wizard or whatever you don't want them to be into.
But, Zach, why would you want them to move through infantry?
Oh, I don't know. Would it be that they can trample to dust?
That they can.
Because they can pick an enemy that they passed across this turn to be the target and roll a d3 on a 2-up, inflict mortal damage equal to the roll. That whole thing. Guess what? They're also ward 6-up because they're death, so they're pretty good. And they have a champion and a standard bearer and all that kind of stuff too. So, you get a little rally action if you need them.
Fancy.
Yeah, so there's obviously the combo there is you bring Vampire Lord on Steed, you throw in Prince Vordry, you throw in the vampire, five vampires on a horse will probably do the job, and then you just go to town on that. Now we're deviating briefly, the Vampire Lord, because this is also part of the combo. It's 6 attack, 5 health, 3 save, 2 control. It has a little weapon, whatever you built on it's fine. Who cares? There's so many models for this thing at this point. Just use a vampire and tell your opponent what you're doing. 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1, 2 damage. Anti-hero plus 1 rend, crit 2 hits. What's confusing about that is that I believe the crit thing is always on. The anti-hero is the plus 1 rend. But it has a comma, and I'm assuming that's correct. I'm assuming I'm reading that correctly. But I don't know. Maybe not. But the reason you bring one of these guys is in your hero phase on a 3-up, they can redeploy. basically more than 9 inches from enemy non-hero units and more than 3 inches from enemy heroes. That's in your hero phase. So that doesn't negate them from charging.
No, it does not.
Yeah. So that little wizard hero in that back line, if your Blood Knights don't do the job, this thing just goes, sup, and just
Here I am.
Dodge this behind them.
Yeah.
The opposite page of this is the Revenant Draconith, and I'm telling you guys at home, I'm telling you, put the guy on him. He's not
Just do
good.
that.
Well, Josh, I'll tell you, you've seen this thing is on a dinner base, right? Right? The Revenant Draconith, it's a big dragon guy, okay? You remember how hard it is to land Gordrak anywhere
Almost
past
impossible.
turn 1?
Yeah.
What if this guy let you do that every turn, but the thing that you had to do was at the end of your turn set him in reserve and then try to put him back down, and it was dependent on a dice roll, and then you had to wait for the movement phase to put him back down, but then he doesn't fit.
That seems silly.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
What's going on? Also, he's really expensive. I don't know what they're thinking of this.
Also,
Anyway,
I want to bring up quickly the Baronites because
we're doing that. That's skeletons.
Well, it is skeletons. Because I misspoke earlier when I was talking about you bring back like a pack of dudes for your death rattlies. The Baronites were what I was thinking of. I said Blood Knights. Baronites is what I was going with. It was in my head. I was like, no, Baronites, because those are also like just coming back like crazy.
Baronites are good. Let's dive. I'm looking at your list to see if there's anything else that is not the terrain piece. We've done the skeletons. Okay, I'm going to do another quick audible, and then we're all skeletons all the time.
Yeah.
Because this is one I didn't think you were going to pick because it's one of the Zack units. I like to call when it's a unit that I have that I've never seen anyone else own. It's the Mortis engine. You can build the Coven Throne and have some sexy vampire ladies on it. It's pretty good. If you're doing a vampire army, this thing, if you can find one. Once again, we're in the can you find it level of death here at this point. It's pretty fun. I like it. Start collecting, God, what do they call it? Malignants. Because it had some Night Haunt in it before they were Night Haunt, and it had one of these, and it had some Hex Wraiths, I think. It was a very silly box. The Mortis engine. 10 move, 4 up save, 5 control, 12 health. You don't want it to be in a fight. It's got a staff, who cares? It's got Spectral Host Blades, 10s attacks on 4s and 4s, no rend. Who cares? I'm not even going to... You don't care. That's not what it's here for. Here's what it's for. When it's set up on the table for the first time, you put a stored energy dice beside it with the 1 facing up. Each time a friendly wizard casts a spell within 12 of it, you increase that by 1. Who could possibly...
How about Nagash?
Who could possibly charge the hell out of this thing? Here's what this does. Here's the second part of it. I'm gonna edge you into what it does for its big finale.
Please edge
here.
me, baby.
So here's its passive. Here's a little tickle on the pickle. When a friendly Death Rattle or Deadwalker's unit wholly within 12 is picked to be the target of Deathly Invocation, the D3, you add D3 to the number of damage points that can be healed or combined health characteristics. So, Nagash hangs out with his go-kart here. He throws down Deathly Invocation. You're getting some 6 guys back, some 5s, like that kind of stuff. Pretty good. You've supercharged this thing up. What do you do when it's supercharged? Once per turn army, your shooting phase. Pick up to 3 enemy units within 10 inches of this unit to be a target. Roll a dice for each target. On a 3-up, admittedly, dicey, inflict an amount of mortal damage to the target equal to the stored energy dice, then reset it to 1.
Ooh.
So you roll this up behind all the skeletons and stuff. Nagash throws out a bunch of D3 damage. Then this thing lets you heal a bunch of guys back up to protect it. And then you pick 3 guys, and on a 3-up, they take 6 mortal damage. Anyway, I own this and Nagash and a bunch of skeletons, so I'm sorry.
That's what you're running now.
That's what I'm going to try this at least once, because it sounds like so much fun. Is it good? I don't know. Is it really funny that you are going to pick 3 heroes if you can, and be like, all right, let's
Here we go, baby.
Oh, what's that we're not looking at? Bonk.
2, 2, 2.
Oh, what's that Sigmar guy, that Knight Relictor? Bonk. Like, you're just going to wipe stuff out. I think that's really silly and funny. It's kind of expensive, but I'm willing to pay the price. I'll pay for memes.
For the memes.
I'll pay for the memes. Hey, look, my skeletons are all on, like, the same page. Minus those.
I want to talk about Baronites.
Let's talk about Baronites. Talk about them. Tell me about them.
Yeah.
By the way, to those of you at home who have Black Knights, I don't know. I think these are on different base sizes. But if you're like me and you have 15 to 20 Black Knights, take them off the base, put them on the right size base. Nobody will know.
Nobody will know.
No one cares.
They look the same.
They're the skeleton on a horse. You're fine.
It's fine, yeah. Anyway, these Baronites, they are 10-inch move. They are 3 health. They are 1 control. They are 4 up save. Okay?
Yeah. All right.
They're melee weapons. They have the They have the Barrow Lance. It is 2 attacks, 4s and 3s, 1 rend, 1 damage. Crits on mortals. Charges +1 damage.
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good.
The Skeletal Steed's Hooves and Teeth. 2 attacks, 5s and 3s, no rend, 1 damage each. And you're like, why are you so excited about this, Josh?
Their horses are just as good as a vampire horse, just with 1 less attack. That's kind of funny.
The reason I'm excited about these things is because these are cavalry that hit, and then they just stick around.
Oh, yes, they do.
Forever. Because first off, they have a passive, which is the Knights of the King. While any friendly Death Rattle cavalry heroes are within this unit's combat range, both this unit and those friendly units have a ward of 5 up.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty solid.
You're going to do that. We'll talk about the heroes, but there's going to be one next to them most of the... Unless something goes horribly wrong.
Yeah,
You're
almost
gonna,
all the time.
Yeah.
But more than that is the end of any turn. You can return 1 slain model to this unit.
Huh.
Not outside of... you just return a slain model.
Yeah, and that doesn't say once per turn army on it.
Nope,
So
that's just end of any turn.
every Barrow Knights unit gets that, right?
Yes.
Well, what about that Deathly Invocation that's 3? How many health do these guys have?
They're 3.
So that would give me a knight back as well.
Yeah, you can...
So in your turn, I get a knight back.
Uh-huh.
And then my turn, I get a knight back.
Yep.
And at the end of your turn, I get a knight back.
Yep.
And at the end of my turn, I get a knight back.
Correct.
So unless you kill this unit,
That unit
It's
is
fucking-
always coming back. It is an actual nightmare cavalry unit.
the only thing that makes me sad about this is that I want Nurgle, when they get their book, to be this good at just being like, no, we're never leaving the
Never
table.
leaving the table.
That is insane recursion. You are paying for it. I think they're 220 right now.
They
of
are
course,
210 on here.
that's what I'm saying. I think the prices. I think
And
the points have already changed.
And they're only 5 models.
Yes,
So it's not like it's a huge pack of dudes.
but 3 health on a 4-up, 5-up, and you can heal, and you've kept them healing, and the healing isn't all at once.
And here's the thing: even if you bring like a reinforced pack, if they all die and you have Nagash, you just bring them back anyway.
Oh no, but I don't have Nagash. Cool. Well, here's 5.
Well, here's 5 because they're Death Rattle.
Yeah.
And then guess what? They're still coming back. You bring them back off the little grave site, and it's like end of turn. Oh, now there's 6. What do you mean?
It's insane to me to think about like just running a bunch of packs of 5 of them. Just like that is the other list I want to build towards is just Nagash, and then a couple of Barrow heroes, and then just a bunch of knights.
Just
the
the
point.
knights.
The points work out that I probably shouldn't take Nagash for this, but it is really funny to imagine him just being like, my horses. You know what
Go
this is?
forth.
This is payback for Teclis, turning those horses back into real horses for no reason.
Just kill them again.
They knew mortality and then fell out of the sky.
Yeah.
Our horses are good now.
These are those horses.
These
These horses can come back for revenge.
They are mad. I'm excited. I really like this, and
the Barrow Knights. Are genuinely, I think, my favorite unit in this book.
the only part, once again, that makes me sad besides the Nurgle thing is I have like a bunch of Black Knights, but man, those new models
Yeah.
are so good looking. And I know if I put one next to my 20 Black Knights I already have that are painted and built and based, I'm going to look at them and go, I want more of the new guys.
Did we talk about I can't remember. Did we talk about the rest of the skeletons? Did we talk about Death Rattle skeletons?
Let's talk about just for me, there's all 4. So
Yeah.
I can kind of go through and they each kind of do one thing for you.
Okay.
So you've got your White King on Steed. Right now, too
Your
expensive.
what?
Your White King. Represent King. I don't know. This is almost worse than Slaves to Darkness. This is the thing that geographically we have a hard time saying and not going with a
Whoa.
W. I don't know how to hit the WG too hard.
Where's the emphasis on that syllable?
I can't pronounce WIG in the way of a hairpiece and then
Wit.
add HT.
Wit.
Don't say this out loud. It's gonna not work. Trust me.
It's not.
It doesn't work. It sounds worse somehow. So anyway, the White King.
Yep.
10-inch moves. What Elon Musk's wish he was. 10-inch move, 8 health, 3 save, 2 control. It does a little bit of damage with its weapon. 4s and 3s, 5 attacks. Rend 1 damage 2. Charge 1 damage, crit mortal. That's fine. He's a little expensive for what he does right now, but I'm hoping he comes down in points because it's cool. If an attack made with his weapon scores a critical hit, the target becomes cursed for the rest of the battle. Subtracts 1 from save rolls. Oof. That's it. That's just the thing it does. But it doesn't stack. You just bonk a guy. Yeah. That's fun. Because if your Barrow Knights are fighting a guy and he charged in with them, you bonk them. They get cursed, and your Barrow Knights hit them, and they actually can hit them a little harder.
Just didn't work.
He also can pick, this is the fun part, pick an objective or terrain feature within enemy territory in your hero phase. For the rest of the turn, you add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by friendly Death Rattle when they're wholly within 6 of that. Because he goes, that's my hill. And then everybody wants to fight for that hill.
It's like, yeah, that is our hill.
Yeah, but on an objective. So, move your guys in on an objective, add 1 to hit rolls. Hey, I'm looking over at that 4 and 3. Oh, 3 and 3 for free.
Pretty savvy.
And we didn't talk about, when we were, before this show, talking about the new changes to the all-time favorites of All-Out Attack and All-Out Defense coming next edition. But now, if you issue All-Out Attack, they are -1 save for the rest of that turn, because they're not focusing on it. All-Out Defense does something negative as well. I've forgotten. Maybe it's -1 to hit. Maybe that would make sense, but I don't know that that's true. We'll review the new GHB next episode. But that means that +1 to hit is a real commodity in this next minor addition update kind of thing.
The new season.
The new season. So that's a really good ability. He's just, for half his price, you can take like a guy and 10 other guys, and mathematically it works out. You can also get a White King on foot, which is kind of basically the same guy. He doesn't curse you. What he has is you can pick a friendly death rattle within its combat range, and on a 3-up, they have crit too. So you can supercharge during your hero phase 1 unit. It's all right. He slaps the horse on the butt, and then the horse runs up and then does more damage. That's kind of cool. Unless, wait, hold on. Do they have crit? Well, they already have crit mortal, so I guess you don't really do that. So you put it on your skeletons. Yeah, he wants to hang out with skeletons. And then he can pick an infantry unit that is not used to fight, and they can fight with him after he fights. Pretty standard stuff. This model is old as dirt. Like, this is the one that's like, this thing predates so much stuff in this book, but it still looks pretty good. If you have a White King, you can build a White Lord. That's the new thing you can do, if you want to. Don't you make that face at me.
I'm just chuckling maniacally.
Which is 1 less health. He does a little less damage. He doesn't curse you. He's significantly cheaper. But what he does is his passive. You add 1 to charge rolls for Cav while they're wholly within 12 of him. Good for your Barrow Knights. He also can pick a Cav unit to fight with him. So he's the guy you put next to your Barrow Knights. Which is why the White King is kind of in a weird spot. Because it's like you want him to get into a fight, but he's not super. I don't know. If he comes down in points a little bit, I'm going to use 1 of each because I think there's a valuable thing there. Skeletons do skeleton stuff. At the end of the turn, they return D3 models to them. So you heal them, and they get some models back. It's pretty cool. Last thing we're going to talk about for the skeletons is the Barrow Guard. Okay.
Yeah.
Much like the Barrow Knights. You have Grave Guard at home. Maybe you're like me and you have 30 of them, okay? Pop them off of their bases. I think they're on slightly larger bases now. Nobody will know. They even specifically say in the lore for these guys, some prefer a sword and shield, others swing a huge two-handed blade. That's exactly how Grave Guard were built. It doesn't matter which one you pick. Like, you can have mixed units or whatever, but like, they are clearly telling you, hey guys, you don't have to rebuy all your skeletons. Grave Guard are fine. 4 attacks, 4 move, 4 up save, 1 control, 1 health. Fine. The White Blade is crit mortal, 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 1. So you get a little rend and crit mortal. It's pretty nice. The reason you bring them is if they're within friendly Soulblight Gravelords infantry heroes or within their combat range, they and this have a 5-up. So if you're going to bring the guy on foot and he's going to do the thing where he gives them crit 2 hits or he's going to fight with them, they protect him a little bit. It's okay. I think that like the Barrow Knights thing, once again, maybe not the best, but man, does it seem fun.
It seems really fun.
Just be like, okay, well, all my horses come back every turn.
Here's all the horses.
And you're like, oh, is it your turn? All my horses came back. Oh, hey, guess what? I'm going to cast a spell on your turn by forcing a spell. All my horses come back.
just be incredibly frustrating all of the time.
I'm going to play with my horses, dang it. All right, I have 2 super fast audibles, and then we'll do the manifestation.
You son of a bitch.
I'm crazy over here. Zombies do mortal damage on a 6-up. When you kill them, they do a damage to you. Cool.
Oh, yeah, they explode.
Oh, yeah, they explode. That's neat. Corpse Card's back. That's why I wanted to call a Corpse Card out. It has some weapon damage. You don't give a crap about that. Melee weapons used by other friendly Deadwalkers have crit auto wound when they're wholly within 12 of him. So you get that pack of 40 zombies, which you can pile within 3 inches of a unit relatively easy, especially if you take the thing that lets you pile in a unit in your hero phase. And then you just roll 40 dice.
See what happens. And then
every crit is an auto wound.
And then when the zombies die, they go boom.
Yeah, it's just fun. I like that it has a use. It's not bad anymore. Is it good? I don't know. Do I want to see somebody run only corpse carts and Deadwalker zombies? Yes. Do I think it's funny that it has the War Machine tagline?
Yes.
Yes. And it's not a hero?
Yes.
It's such a weird unit. Final audible was the Necromancer. Can I get a sad trombone?
Womp, womp, womp.
Why do they do this to my boy? Every iteration, I've had Nagash and 1 Necromancer. Because you give Dance Macabre You used to have the guy, and Nagash knew his spells, and you would have a unit attack twice. Then they took it away, and only the guy could cast it, but you still brought one, because it was fun. Now, yeah, he's got a staff, he's whatever. If he's near Death Rattle, he has a 4-up ward, and if you do a ward save, the damage goes to the unit next to him, bodyguard save. What if I told you, Josh, he has probably one of the worst abilities I've seen in this game so far, in terms of economy of play. For 1 command point, that's right.
Ooh,
the
1
rare,
CP.
the rare actually costs a command point in the army. You pick a friendly Death Rattle or Deadwalker's unit wholly within 12. Roll a dice.
Yikes.
On a 3-up, it can fight twice, but the second fight is strike last. So you will spin that CP
And
you
roll
will
a 2.
Roll a 2. You will go son of a bitch, and you have spent points to fail that. Well, it's once per turn, so you can't even do it.
Try it again.
Ugh, why did they do that? They just don't want you to have this guy? He is one of the really old models still, but like, come on.
So, yes.
He's so old they didn't even put a picture of him in the models.
Damn, they just ghosted him.
Yeah.
Harsh.
Just pour one out for the Necromancer, man. I miss that guy. All right, we got a building and we got some spells to talk about.
We do have a
Then we
building
can
and
go
some
get
spells. The
Burger
building
King or something
is
spooky.
Yeah.
I don't know what the spookiest. What's the spookiest fast food restaurant?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Culver's?
I've never been to a Culver's. I don't
There's
know.
nothing you can eat at a Culver's.
Well, that's why I was like, I don't. At the ice cream, right? Don't they have like ice cream stuff?
I think they do have ice cream stuff.
Yeah. I know it's sandwiches or something, or butter burgers.
Burgers.
Yeah,
They're
butter
burgers,
burgers.
yeah.
Well, Taco Bell can give you a spooky dookie.
It's true. Taco Bell is good with the spooky dookies.
Burger King does every once in a while be like, hey, let's have a black burger that looks like nightmare sauce.
Burger King is by far the thing that gives me the spookiest of dookies.
The King is probably the spookiest of mascots, with his ability to appear behind you.
I don't know,
anywhere.
dude. Wendy?
I don't think
For
Wendy's
Wendy's?
spooky.
Wendy? Well, it's gotten like when it was a person, it was fine.
Yeah.
Like when it was actually like Dave's child. But now,
I don't think I've seen Wendy recently. I think I've seen Wendy's ads recently.
I don't know if they do a lot of Wendy's ads.
Yeah, I don't
anymore.
think I see Wendy's Twitter is one of the feral ones.
Yeah.
I don't think I see Wendy's
Yeah.
ads.
You know,
I gotta
remember
I gotta
the one
represent.
they used to have yellow boxes
Yes, yeah.
for fries? That's how
Yeah.
you used to know Wendy's fries.
Wendy's used to have a really good baked potato, and as a vegetarian and
was a great
living in a
option.
town with not a lot of stuff, my friends would want to go to Wendy's, and I was like, cool, I can get a baked potato and a Frosty.
Yeah.
Now the Frosties come in like little tiny plastic cups, and they're
strange.
miserable.
Yeah.
Like they're just
Wendy's is
going
the one-
on, Wendy's?
Wendy's is the one place where I can actually go though. When I was doing the no carb stuff or gluten free. That's what I was doing.
They have gluten-free buns.
Well, no, but you can get their burger. So as opposed to a lot of burgers at
Yes.
fast food joints that do have like wheat byproduct in them,
Of which I know a lot about.
yeah,
yes.
Wendy's do not.
My burgers
they're
are made of
actually
beans.
100%. They're actually 100% beef. So and you can get it just without the bun, and they'll put it like all the stuff in like a little container for you, so you can eat it with a knife and fork.
Oh, okay. But before,
Or if you want, you can do that, and you can throw on a baked potato.
yeah, that's pretty good. Before the Impossible Burger, my dad would go through Burger King and get a Whopper without the meat, and he would always have to repeat it like 5 times.
You want to what?
Because they'd be like really confused, and he's like, "Yeah, just give me the Whopper stuff, but like without the meat." And they would be like, "Well, it's gonna be full price," and he's like, "That's okay,
That's
it's
fine.
fine. Like I want the other
I
stuff."
want the lettuce and the tomato and the onions and stuff and the Whopper sauce.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Is he wanted the mayonnaise and special sauce or whatever. Yeah.
Special sauce was
Yeah.
on there.
All right, let us know in the comments what the spookiest.
Well,
fast
yeah,
food
what is the
restaurant
spookiest
There's,
restaurant?
there's gonna be some regional thing somewhere that's like,
Oh, guaranteed.
well, it's a White Castle that a guy died at. It's like which one,
White
right?
Castle. White Castle. Ooh, that's not a bad choice actually.
I don't. Is White Castle spooky? I wasn't spooked. I just went in and went, "This is a crystal, but like palette swapped." That's what it was,
Sir, no. A crystal is a White Castle palette swap.
Oh, I don't
you
know.
bring this shit to my
I don't know
doorstep.
which one's worse or better. They're both little burgers,
They are little burgers.
little burger guys.
Little burgers.
I figured it out.
Oh, I'm ready for it.
Only one of these fast food restaurants is connected to a triumvirate of Holy Spirits, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Chick-fil-A. Spookiest fast food. Ghost mascot. Jesus.
And they do have like weirdly talking cows. So
yeah,
you're
haunted
not-
cows.
Haunted cows.
Not open on Sunday because of all the exorcisms. I'm saying it here. Chick-fil-A haunted.
That's why they have to bless all the chicken before they kill it. Because it's
Chick-fil-A.
all haunted. Because they buy haunted chicken.
Chick-fil-A is weird because you go in and all the teenagers are all like, hey, we're a wholesome Chick-fil-A place. Come in, and we're all smiling and stuff. And you're like, I know you guys have like the most sordid affairs going on in the back of this. This place is just a CW show of drama when there's not a customer in here. There's no way all of you conventionally attractive teenagers are getting along. No. There's fights going on every day in this place. There is blood being spilled.
Can you say conventionally attractive teenagers as an almost 40-year-old man?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, because they all look like normal white kids. That's what it is. They all look like that one. They all look the same.
Are we allowed to watch CW shows anymore, Zach?
I don't know. The Flash is all right, I think.
That show isn't on anymore.
Yeah, but you can watch reruns. Oh. I don't know what's on the CW.
Don't know either.
How many hills is this trees on, and are there more than one now?
I don't know. It's just one.
Did they ever get that Dawson out of that creek? I assume that's what that show was about. I didn't watch it. Anyway, let's talk about some spells, maybe? Or the house. Do you want the spells or the house?
Well, the house is... we've already kind of talked about the house. The only other thing on the house is that if anything dies near it, you get to heal the house for 1.
Yeah, well, and every time you cast a summon spell, you can measure from the house.
Oh, that's true, too.
That's pretty important, because you can throw a spell really far out there. That's why the one thing that lets you bring back a house is important, because you can put one up there, throw a manifestation right into your opponents.
Drop a doodad.
There's one that you're really going to want to do that too, as well.
Summon magic. Is it the Hand of Nagash?
Yeah, it's the Hand of Nagash. This thing is so good.
This thing is bonkers.
All right. 8 move, 10 health, 5 save, 8 banishment, although that, I think, is maybe changing with the new edition. I don't know if the manifestations, the standard ones, are the only ones getting the, like, across-the-board changes, or if they'll do the book ones retroactively. We'll find out. Be weird, because that would mean this book had like a week.
Where it's an 8 banishment?
welcome to the time I bought World Eaters in 40k 9th edition and got the book and was like, I'm excited to play.
How dare you speak of another game in
Don't
this
worry,
podcast?
it bit me. 2 weeks after I bought it, they changed the edition and the book no longer counted. It was like, why did I do this? I didn't do research. All right, so the Hand of Nagash has a Grasping Talon. What how Talon's doing? Hey, Talon, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Grasping Talon, crit mortals, 5 attacks, 4s and 2s, rend 1, damage 2. Has the same profile as a bad horse.
Or a good horse. He's the goodest horse.
Bad horse.
Bad horse. Bad horse.
Boy, that one dates our
My God,
audience.
yeah, it does.
Real bad. So any combat phase, it has the chill grasp. Because,
It's the chillest.
bruh.
You got so high before he grabbed you. He's
Hey,
like, yo,
buddy. Just be chill. So you pick an enemy unit in combat with it to be the target. Roll a dice on a 4-up, the following effects apply. When it's within 3 inches of this manifestation, the target has a maximum control score of 1. Pretty good.
That cannot be modified.
Yeah. So, shut them down. Turn them into dogs, basically.
Yep.
Also, within 3 inches of this manifestation, it can't move. So it just grabs them.
And just sticks him there.
It's like, no, you're staying here. You're going to fight me, basically. It also, in its movement phase, inescapable reach. It can use this ability if it's not been set up this turn, so, the turn after it comes in. Remove the manifestation from the battlefield and set it up 9 inches from all enemy units. Roll a d3. On a 2-up, it can move a number of inches equal to its roll, which is 8. Oh, to the roll, sorry. Yeah. I thought it was movement. Just kidding. I got you. You thought I had you there, buddy.
You really heavy first half there.
Reading comprehension. So, yeah, you can
It's hard, man.
roll a d3, so you can move up to 3 inches. So you set up a 9.
Make it a nice, easy charge.
Pretty good. I think that thing is really cool. It's also huge. For a spell, it takes up some real estate. So you can kind of, even if you don't charge it in, parking it nearby on an objective is like, come on in the objective. Come close. Because the chances are you're going to get stuck on it, and then I'm going to just walk up and slap you. Which one do you want to take? The bats?
I guess I'll take the bats.
The floating dead guy.
It's a sanguine swarm. Well, the other one also has a floating dead guy, kind of. It's just surrounded by bats.
Oh, yeah, they both got a floating dead guy. Yeah, I'm sensing a lot of skeletons in this army for some reason.
Weird.
Yeah.
This is a 12-inch move at 6 health, 7 banishment, 6-up save. It has leeching bites. There are 10 of them. Crit mortals. They are 5s and 5s, no rend, 1 damage each. The passive is on the leeching bites. Each time an attack made by this manifestation scores a hit, you heal 1 to this manifestation. And its passive is multiple parts. When a number of damage points equal to this manifestation health characteristic are allocated to it, this manifestation is destroyed and parts removed from play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's got multiple stuff going on. Anyway.
Yeah, because it's in 2 different parts. So, it's if one part takes 3 and the other part takes 3, it goes away.
Yeah.
It splits its health. That's a confusing way to say that, but
It
that's
is.
what I believe that's what that means. It's a silly little thing.
It's fine.
The crit mortals is kind of nice. Like listen, maybe you have an extra guy that has a spell slot free, and you're just going to fling this out there. It's the least
Cast
impressive.
the Hand of Nagash.
Yeah, yeah. What if you don't? What if you've already done that? Well, you
I don't
probably.
know, maybe do the other one.
Well, that one's specific. It's good, but it's specific. So let's talk about the Unholy Reliquary. So, no move. Nope. Sorry. You summon this corpse out of the ground, and it stays there. 8 health, 7 up banishment, and a 5 up save. Draw on power is what it does in the combat phase. So you pick a friendly Soulblight Gravelords hero within 12 of it to be the target. Pick one of the following: heal D3, or add 1 to the attacks characteristics of the target's melee weapons for the rest of the turn and banish the manifestation. So it's a spell that boosts a guy.
Yeah. Summon it, boost a guy, resummon it later.
Yeah, what would be I'm going to flip back over here to Prince Vordry. What would be a guy that would like to have one more attack on... Oh, no! I mean, it'd be really funny to put it on, like, a useless guy. Yeah. Like, he supercharged this Vampire Lord. It's like, all right. But, yeah, popping this off, giving Vordry one more hit on that Blood Lance when he charges in.
Not too shabby.
That's pretty good. That's probably... I don't know which one is better or worse between that and the bats, because I think they both have a very specific purpose. But they're both kind of fun.
Yeah.
And they're easy to paint. I will say that as well. None of these models scare me.
No, don't think that's a reason necessarily to bring the model, is if it's easy to paint.
I have brought armies that were fully painted that were just, these are the ones that are fully painted. This is not a good list. So, if you're like me, play the game better. All right. We got 2 armies of renowns and then 2 regiments of renown to get through, and then we are done. We are done.
What are we doing first? Are we doing...
Let's do armies of renown. Let's get them out of the way, because we're not going to go through every single thing of these. I say we tell you the flavor, and we tell you what makes it kind of cool.
Okay. Do the first one for me.
Knights of the Crimson Keep. Guess what you can have in this? The Knights of the Crimson Keep. You can have Prince Vordry. If included, must be the general. You can have a Vampire Lord on Steed, Blood Knights, Revenant Draconeth. No, you're not. And you can include any regiments from renown or faction terrain, because, baby, you're not bringing stuff back on this list. You're a blender that moves fast. That's how this works. So, you have a deployment phase. Pick a friendly Crimson Keep unit that has not been deployed. Set it up in reserve. Guess what? Deep Strike. That's what it is. The way the Deep Strike works for this is once per battle army, any movement phase, you can't use it in the first battle round. This is a weird one. But when you use it, you set up each target. Oh, you pick your guys that are in the Crimson Keep. You have to pick all of them. It says each. You don't get to leave a guy back. But this is your one-turn drop thing.
Yeah.
This is the castle floating in. You could kind of do this in the previous book as well with these guys, so it's thematic for them. You set up each target wholly within 9 of the battlefield edge and more than 9 from enemy units. If you used it in the third or subsequent round, you don't spend any command points when using the Carve a Bloody Path command. Do you want to find out what that does?
Sure, I can tell you what the Carve of Bloody Path does.
It'd be funny if we didn't.
It's 1 CP,
Yes.
which you wouldn't have to spend if you did this thing.
Yes.
You pick a friendly Blood Knights unit that is in combat to use this ability, and that unit can use a charge ability even though it is in combat and even though it has already used a charge ability this turn.
So you set them up, you charge them in,
Charge them
you
again.
do your impact damage, you charge them again, you
do more impact damage, and then you hit stuff.
and then you kill stuff next to Prince Vordry and your
Hopefully.
Vampire Lord, the combo we talked about earlier. I think you will murder. If your opponent is not aware of what flank you're going to be coming in from, because it's battlefield edge.
Yeah, it's tough to plan for.
So yeah, it's Beast of Chaos, God rest their souls, where it's like, what corner of the table
It
is
went to the
this gonna
great
come
old
in?
world in the sky.
Your best bet is to stand in the middle and be like, I'm the worst. Just have to come at me, I guess.
Yeah.
The great old world in the sky. The great old world in the discount bin. So also, Bloody Rampage is their turn ability. Once per turn, army any combat phase. Pick a friendly Crimson Keep monster that's in combat and has not used any rampage abilities to use as a target. Blah, blah, blah. I can make a move d6. If it must end move in combat with the target unit. So basically, you pick a guy and you're like, and you try to go for him. Roll a dice. If it exceeds
Soldier
the
boy.
target's health characteristic, one model is slain. What?
You said you, and I said Soldier Boy.
Oh! Yes, that's it. And it cannot use a rampage. I don't know why you do that over Vordry's pilot and do 6 damage, maybe. But it's the 2d6 thing,
Yeah.
so you might just get in. This almost redeems the dragon guy, I think, because bringing him in and having him charge, just forget about half the war scroll about deep striking him and all of that. Like, just bring him in, have him charge, roll another 2d6, get into some fights. And you got a bunch of spells and stuff like that. Like, really, if you're going to do this, you know you're going to do this.
Yeah.
You are building an army to play like this. But you can also play all vampires in the regular army. Still just as good. This is thematic and fun. What you're losing with your invocations, you probably don't care anyway because you're probably not bringing... I mean, you're not bringing anything that would really benefit except for the heal. And you can get a once per battle heal for 3d3 on somebody. Like, your vampires don't... What you're honestly losing, your vampires do not heal at the end of the turn. So, like, this is the bullet form of the vampire army. You are going in hard and fast, baby, and hoping you kill everything that you touch because you don't want to stand around and fight too much.
Right.
You don't want to hit something and not kill enough of it that the hit back doesn't hurt you. So, this is the fast charging part. But what about the Barrow Legion?
I was just kind of doing a
What
little...
would be the opposite of a fast charging death army?
How about a very slow plotting army?
What about an army that doesn't even give a crap about movement half the time, just walking around?
So the beautiful thing about the Barrow Legion is that it's just any death rattle.
Yeah.
It does not care.
No, just
As
if it's a
opposed to-
skeleton,
yeah.
toss him in.
As opposed to many of these armies of renown, which have very specific list building requirements. This one actually gives you freedom.
Yeah.
You have the freedom to do whatever you wish. So, the big thing here, right, is you have... Oh, no, not the artifacts. I want the battle traits. Passive, all to dust. The effect is in the third and subsequent battle rounds, while a friendly cursed sploosh
Yes.
is on the battlefield, you subtract 1 from save rolls for enemy units. So just on the battlefield, you got one of these things, subtract 1.
But what if it'd be really hard to defend all of them, right? If only there was the Royal Crypt in your deployment phase. You have to use this. You don't set up 3 on the table. You set up 3 within a half inch of each other. That is now your one terrain piece.
Yeah.
And it has 24 health instead of 8.
It's massive.
That's your thing.
It's a big old graveyard.
But I guess there should be some way to guard it or something to protect, because it's pretty important that you keep that thing on the table,
Man,
right?
well, it's almost like you have like Grave Sentinels.
Yes.
Who have a passive, and the melee weapons used by friendly Barrow Legion units have anti-charge +1 rend, while they are wholly within 9 inches of a friendly cursed thing.
So you're saying that I put those guys that already had rend around it, that are usually guarding a dude with maybe a White King who can fight and then have them fight with him, and then they have an extra rend on that, so you can't get into my units. Okay. Sounds pretty cool. What are the kind of gifts to the petty kingdoms you got for me?
Well, man, I can give you the gift. You can pick up to 2 friendly non-unique Barrow Legion heroes that do not have an artifact of power to be the targets, and you can pick units in reserve. The effect is that you give target 1 artifact of power from the Barrow Legion Army of Renown rules.
There's not a unique guy. That's a weird specification.
Maybe if they add 1.
So this is weird. The guy from Cursed City is a unique Death Rattle foot commander, and technically, as of right now, he can be put in this unit.
So it's just him.
It's just him, and I don't know if you're supposed to do that. I don't know if they have supposed to let me do that.
Yeah.
But you can. So
maybe not.
But he says Legends next to him, but it doesn't stop me from putting him in.
You got him for a week.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what that means. Oh, you know what? I haven't checked as of like 2 days ago. I don't know.
Probably had it for a week.
Ah, crap. Oh, well. That would be the only one. Otherwise, yeah, you get. So what's also important about this, it's during the deployment phase, so you don't put it on your list. You look across the table and you go, what could I use out of this pile of stuff? And I like that. It's a little flexibility. Yeah. You also have, once per battle round army, any movement phase, Endless Legions of Bone. You pick a friendly non-unique Barrow Legion that has been destroyed to be the target, and you set up half of it wholly within 6 of your terrain piece, or 9 inches of from element units, or wholly within 12 of a hero. However, there's a little something on this. If it's your movement phase, you can set up the replacement unit more than 3 inches from all enemy units instead of more than 9. But if you set it up within that, it cannot charge. That's okay. You've just summoned a wall of bone. Like, that's what that is I'm about to take something that I don't want. There's a pack of 6 blood crushers from Khorne coming in, and they are going to wreck my stuff. 10 skeletons. Take up a turn just killing those for no reason.
Here they are.
There you are. Take them and die. I do want to say, because of the thing with the artifacts, we can go real fast through the artifacts, because this is the way this kind of works is you're very slow and you're losing a lot of the regeneration. You don't have any invocation of Nagash or anything like that to do. So like your skeletons, you're bringing a lot of them, but they are not coming back as fast, except for what's on their war scrolls. So kind of to get away from, like to get around that, you can, for the artifacts, you can have a ward of 5 up. You can do a thing where the once per turn, any hero phase, you pick a friendly Barrel Legion within 12. On a 3-up, they heal 3 or regain 3 model or wound characteristic of models. So you kind of get around it with the Helm of Cold command. The Crypt Dagger is just silly. Pick an enemy hero in combat. Once per battle, do d6 mortal damage.
Nope.
Just shank them. Shank them.
You got the Gravesand Pendant, which allows you to, if you die, you can roll a dice on a 3-up, you come back and heal 1, basically.
Yeah.
And then it goes away, but it kind of just keeps the hero alive for one more go-around.
Yep.
The sun. And then you also have the Amulet of Nightmares, which is you pick an enemy unit within 9 inches of this unit to be the target, and on roll a dice on a 2-up, the target has strike last this phase, and that's a once per battle, any combat phase.
This one, I think, requires a little more playing smart than just the other way to play only skeletons and stuff, because, like I said, a lot less recursion. But I think some savvy players are going to look at this, and they're going to look at the fact that you pick your artifacts, and that you have the one terrain piece, and if you can hide it in the corner of the table with the battle tactics that we're getting now, maybe there's no reason to go over there. So is your opponent going to dedicate a strike force to go over there and deal with that thing? Well, then they're not doing the rest of the stuff. So you're kind of playing a distraction game with them. And by the time they go over and they finally kill that building, all right.
By the way, you saw you mentioned the deployment phase, the Lord of the Arcane Aegis, right? Which is like the main piece kind of out of this thing.
Oh, the heroic trait for it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're probably, I don't know if you're going to pick this one necessarily, but it is really good. It's specifically like, yes.
Well, you pick a keyword, right?
Right.
Which keyword do you want? What did you build? Because if you built just all infantry, all your saves on 4-ups are successful.
Yeah, on that hero. So
yeah, which is kind of neat.
If you're looking at Gargants and you're like, I'm going to have to have a hero fight a Gargant at some point.
Yeah.
I want this guy to survive. Oh, I've also given him the Gravesand pendant, so he pops back up once more, hopefully.
Yeah, you got some flexibility there.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, honestly, the heroic traits are pretty good too. The one that gives +2 to a movement is good because your skeletons be slow.
Yeah,
they be slowing. Also, don't forget your heal, your Leeching Soil. A model friendly or enemy is slain within your terrain piece. It heals 1. So as your skeletons are dying, it's healing. And then they kill your skeletons, and then they fight your building, and then you do the thing where you summon in more guys within 3 inches of them, and then you walk them over and hit them again. And it's like, it's so hard to kill that one terrain piece.
But that's the...
But they have to.
Yeah, that's kind of the win condition.
It's -1 save to everything.
Yeah.
And you're getting all your pluses from charging that are on the war scroll.
Right.
So you turn into a pretty decent combat army.
It's not too shabby.
But you got to make it. You got to make it to the 3rd battle round.
Yeah, that's the trick.
You cannot, ironically, you cannot have them Knights of Crimson keep you and just slide in and kill all your units, and then 3rd battle round, it's like, you're -1 save, and they're like, you have 3 guys on the table. And you're
I
like,
don't think it's going to help you.
yep. But those 3 guys.
Is there anything we want to say about the Scions of Nilhamia?
Oh, right. I forgot you have that in the app, and I don't. But guess what? That's one I actually really want to build, so I know about it.
Oh, okay. Lovely.
So this is a one based on a character model that came out that I think is awesome. We talked about her in the storyline that came out because she is, where is it? Sakar, the Fang of Nilmania. New Lamia, I think is actually how we're supposed to say it. New Mania.
I can tell you exactly what has to be in the roster option.
Her.
Yep.
Because it's her force.
Coven Throne, a Bloodseeker Palanquin, a Vampire Lord, Direwolves, Fellbats, and you cannot include Regiments of Renown.
Yeah, but what? It's not like enough stuff to build an army on. What can I do with those Vampire Lords? You got something funky for me in there?
Units can be added. Scions of Nilhamia Vampire Lord units can be added to regiments led by Scions of Nilhamia Hero. So you can just add more.
So your Vampire Lords are your units.
Yes.
I have built this list. You can just take her and Vampire Lords. Your army can be 20-something little guys. Then that's it. That's your whole army. The points work out weird. You kind of are going to add in some wolves or some bats. Because I can't quite... Either you have a huge deficit or you take like 2 packs of wolves. Like it's a kind of a weird list to build around points rise right now. But that's really fun. And I'm going to tell you real fast what Sakar does because she's the key of this whole thing. She's pretty good in a fight, honestly. Like she's pretty solid. This is the model that where she's all like gaunt and weird. She has the snake like coming up around her. That's actually a god of time that she's sort of starved until it's like just a pet for her. If you unmodified hit roll for 1 to 4 targets her, it fails. So that's pretty nice. You can, however, end that once per battle, and you roll 2d6 for each target in combat with her. If it exceeds their move characteristic, they take an amount of mortal damage equal to the difference. So once per game, she turns into Quicksilver, and just everybody around her could take up to, what's a good move characteristic? On a 5, probably is pretty average?
Yeah.
5 or
6.
So let's say you roll a 7, that's at least 1. That's
On
the
everything.
average. What if you crank that 12, though?
Oh, boy.
That's just 6 more damage.
6 more damage on everything.
Everything around her. She also can pick an enemy visible unit, and friendly Soulblight Gravelords cannot be picked to the target abilities used by that target other than fight. So if you've got some weird funky thing going on, Seraphon biting you or using magic,
you got
just
a
be
lot
like,
of
stop.
shutdown.
Just stop that. Yeah. I think that list build is really fun. That's the one that came out in the previous books. I think we might have talked about it in the episode about it, actually.
I think we did.
Because I was like, oh, you can just run dogs and guys.
Yeah.
Just dogs and guys, that's it. I guess you could put a bat in there. I don't like the bats. I like the bats fine. I hate that the bats are $50 for 3 tiny models. That bothers me. Give me more bats.
Regiments.
You got one you like, and one that is the dragon. So you can put the dragon in your list. Do you want to put the dragon in your list?
No.
He doesn't really fit.
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's like, it's cool. It's a cool model. I think that's the sad part. Like,
Wait,
you
what are
look
the
at
two?
it.
What are the 2 that are in there for you? Out of curiosity, because I feel like the app has way more.
Yeah, you got a bunch. I have the Beast of Castle Sternesti and the Blades of the Hollow King.
Okay.
I know you've got more because Death does have a lot of options because all of Death kind of can work together.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think you've got an Ossiarch one and
Yeah.
like the ones that can be included with this, and then you may have others. But the Beast of Castle Sternest style is you get to put a dragon in it.
Woohoo!
You can take it and put a dragon in it.
Yeah, organization, 1 Revenant Draconeth.
Yeah, and once per turn, your hero phase, he heals 3. All right, that's fine. If you really like the dragon and you want to put him in your Ossiarch Bone Reaper's army, where he will take up a huge amount of space and benefit from nothing, okay, power to you. Him in the Nighthawk army is really funny because it's like, why is he there? What is he doing? How did they call him?
Your other option is the Blades of the Hollow King, right?
Yes.
And that's for this one, it's just the Blades of the Hollow King.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it. This is the guy in the bunch of books, and he's got vampires and another guy with a snake.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good unit. They're a little pricey right now. We've seen these units. It's the books or the TV shows. So here's that squad.
Here's that guy, yeah.
And they act, and if you lose a guy, you can't use their abilities and stuff. Blades of the Hollow King is a very thematic add-in. It's not insane to add it into stuff. I think it might be helpful in some armies because they're pretty durable and fast.
Well, and they heal themselves. That's their ability.
That's the thing, is they get to, if they use the fight, they heal, and if they did kill something, they did 2d3 damage. I'm going to flip back over, because we didn't talk about them. This is weird, but if you just happen to be one of the people like me that have the Eskarian True Blades, which I think is a Warcry unit, they're in here, which is rare, because a lot of Warcry didn't make
moved
it.
out.
Yeah, and they're really good at killing monsters, specifically killing monsters. They can give a monster 4-up strike last. They're a weird bullet into monsters. What was the one I was looking up? Blades of the Hollow King.
Blades of the Hollow King.
Did they get a page themselves? I thought they did. They're like the celebrities of this
Already
army.
legend.
Already. Oh no! You can't use them. I'm going so fast. Oh, here they are. Yeah, they have a bunch of attacks, and they can cast spells, and they can do some damage.
280 points.
Oh, I'm looking at them right now. They are, if you consider them as like a monster worth that, I don't think they're worth that. But maybe I'm missing something, because you can do.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, what's is this just these guys are cool and I like their show, so I want to put them in?
Yeah.
I get that. I run the Black Talons in my Stormcast army, although they're actually really good. I think they're good. They're fun. I don't know. It's cool. It's like throwing celebrities at people. It's like, and here's the one with the TV show. Hey,
Dead.
Yeah. Dead. Yeah.
Final thoughts, Zach.
Final thoughts on this book. I'm glad. Oh, I dented the crap out of my corner of my book. I'm glad the skeletons are back and they got some like actual.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, this is good. As the guy who has, I think, 80 of them based and painted, I'm going to rebase them because I don't like my job. My basing job was gluing sand on them the night before ACT because I was running Nagash and a bunch of skeletons. Hey, Go look up the Warhammer Twitter. Go back 6 years, and you'll see a big picture of Nagash as the first picture from this event. That's my Nagash. He's surrounded by 6 Stormcast on Evocati or Dracolines or whatever they were. Because I made a mistake, and I put him in a real bad spot in the first turn. And I think that's why they were like, oh, this is funny. I'm glad Nagash is back. Like, overall, really happy with this book. Boo to the Necromancer sucking, the dragon being not very good is weird, and there's a lot of stuff that just kind of does the same thing it always did. So, okay. They fixed the bug where you could technically, as per the rules, I think they fixed this last year's update, the Rat King guy could come back, but it was a set up a new unit, so you could actually, somehow there was some trick where technically you could copy him and then have 2 of them on the table, and then if one of them died, you could have 3 of them on the table. That's not what they intended to do, but it was really funny because it's like, buy 30 Kritzes. Show up with 1, let him die, put 2 on the table, let them die. Now you have 4, and you could, I don't know why you'd do it, but it was funny. Overall, like, I'm pretty happy with this. I think that it's nice to see that the focus isn't just on one type of thing. Yeah. Obviously, their vampire heavy is going to be really good, but I think there's a lot to be played with bones. I think the wolf, we didn't even talk about the werewolf stuff, but, like, it's still solid. Yeah. Like, it's still a solid thing. Grandma Wolf and a bunch of wolves and Radikar still going to do some damage. Still a nice list. Yeah. Radikar, it's just the same list, kind of. It's kind of what you've been doing if you have that, which is probably good. You don't have to change your play style. Yeah. Overall, I'm having a hard time thinking of anything that I don't like. I would have liked maybe the Barrow, the White King and White Lord are different enough, but like it would have been cool to see a little more variety, and also the one of them being so much more expensive than the other kind of just tells me to take the one that's cheap and then bring some more guys. So maybe looking at that, I don't know. I'm struggling. I have like no complaints for this book. It's solid. I think that it is a high-level play book. I think that everybody's going to go buy a bunch of vampires. Well, not everybody. People are going to buy vampires because they're fast and cool and do a lot of damage. And I think we'll see that thing where they win battles initially, and then people start learning to play around that play style. Because guess what? If you got to come in on the table edge, and I've blocked you out strategically with my Stormcast or something, it's hard. I can funnel you into an area where it's not beneficial for you. And of course, we don't know what battle tactics look like until tomorrow. Yeah, a couple days from now. So we don't know how well that will play the battle tactic game. But Death has always kind of been like you roll up with Death, you know what you're doing, you have a plan. Your opponent's army is irrelevant, kind of. You are going to execute and win that plan. And I think this book kind of puts it in a good spot. Nice. It makes me excited to see what they're going to do with the rest of the Death books if this is the same level they have. It makes me sad because I know Ossiarch will be last. That's the one I want next because I want them to be good and fun again. And what's the next book after this? Is it Idoneth? I think it's Idoneth. Yeah, I'm optimistic for that. So far, no book has made me like just I haven't been mad yet. Yeah. I'm trying to. Yeah, they've all been pretty fun. Yeah, I'm giving this book 3 soft finger bones across the kneecap. I'm giving it 12 knuckles out of the amount of knuckles in my pockets right now. At home, guess. Let us know. Let us know how many knuckles are in my pocket. This, I think that like, yeah. If you're gonna play this army, you already own the book. If you're interested in the army, the spearhead's fun. There's a spearhead that's vampires. There's a spearhead that's skeletons. Get the one you want. Load up. Paint. Get the contrast bone paint. Just stop kidding yourself. Slap a bunch of contrast on those guys. Stop kidding yourself. Make it easy on yourself. Get that. Paint your army. Have a good time. Yeah, I like it. I like it too. I think that's everything I have to say about this. I want to go home and rebase a bunch of skeletons. I don't. Their legs are tiny. A lot of them are going to have kneecaps coming out of the ground. I'm not going to do it. This is your future now. They are gorilla glued onto those bases real bad. So thank you once again to Llama Juice Painting, to Blueberry Podcasting, and to Gigabytes Cafe for all of your wonderful support so far for the show. Yeah. And thank you to us. And to you, our loyal listeners, please, once again, give us those wonderful ratings, reviews, all that fun stuff. 5 stars all over the place. And again, if you give us those reviews, we will read them on air. We'll read them. We believe in those reviews that you leave for us. Make them embarrassing. We know that we have put out into the world the kind of energy that we are seeking back. Give us that energy. It's what sustains us. It feeds us. It's the vampiric power we draw from you. Yes, we are sucking all that juice out of the ether. Oh, boy, are we sucking. We're sucking so hard. Every episode. So, for the Atlanta Warhammer Podcast, I'm Josh. And I'm Zach, saying, when I move, you move, just like that. Hell yeah. Ludicrous. And then I trip over all the chords.